subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Hey! Nei said he couldn't remember. You can remember it for so long. Nai quickly complained. Apparently, completely overestimated Nanoha's memory. I thought Naiba had already remembered. Who knows the result? Nanoha didn't remember at all. I'll say it again. Repeat with me. Said quickly. I know. Naya nodded. At this time, the giant wolf also pounced on Nanoha. Naoi closed his eyes in fright. Stop getting in the way. Suddenly, there was a loud shout from the bushes on the side. A black tiger flew upside down from the woods. It knocked the giant wolf who was about to pounce on Nanoha. At the same time, the heart of the rising sun in Nanoha's hand also radiated a dazzling pink light. The rising sun. Heart. Nanoha stared blankly at the heart of the rising sun in her hand. Stand ready, say, ready, start. The heart of the rising sun also quickly turned into a wand. Who was beside him, was stunned. Is it possible to activate Heart of the Rising Sun without a password? This kind of thing is beyond Yuno's understanding. Your support. Thanks to Mr. Ming for the 5,000 VIP points rewarded. Thank you very much. Chapter 33. Nanoha is cute. JPG Nano. Hurry up and put on protective clothing. Tianyu ran out of the woods beside him. Seeing that Nai was still stunned in place, he hurriedly said, Oh. Nanoha hurriedly raised the magic wand in her hand. Barrier jacket, the heart of the rising sun, in his hand resounded. A pink semicircular light completely enveloped Nanoha. Roar! The two monsters let out a deafening roar. After looking at each other, at an extremely fast speed, they rushed to Tianyu from left to right. In the eyes of these two guys, Tianyu is the most threatening existence. As for Naiba, just a little girl who can use magic. Look at the wildness in the eyes of the two monsters, and the oppression brought by the huge body. Tianyu just smiled contemptuously. At the same time, he stretched out his left index finger and pointed at the two monsters. Totally provocative. Roar! Two monsters rushed towards Tianyu one by one. They merged with native organisms, activated hunting skills engraved in their bones, changed to ordinary people to see these two big guys attacking from different places. He was so frightened that he fainted. Little feather, Naiha shouted worriedly. That tiger made a leap to suppress Tianyu first. From Tianyu's first point of view, it was just a huge black shadow that covered the sky and the earth. Changed to ordinary people may have been scared to cry. However, Tianyu did not take this tiger seriously. Just in the nick of time, the right foot gently slammed on the ground and jumped back a distance, passed by the huge figure of the tiger, then took advantage of the situation to do a somersault to the top of the tiger's head. Shinryu's sword drawing technique. No sword, Nadiko. I saw Tianyu slap the tiger's head with a palm. Bang! With just one palm, the tiger was shot to the ground. But after watching it a few times, I always think it's really amazing. Stared at Tianyu with wide eyes, looking at Tianyu with an incredible look. Why does it feel weird? This 4-year-old child was able to easily dodge the slaughter of the huge tiger. And also by its own strength, the tiger was shot on the ground with one palm. In the face of the slaughter of the beast, to be able to dodge unhurriedly and to shoot it to the ground with one palm, is this really just something a 4-year-old child can do? Another giant wolf also pounced. Wow! The giant wolf's eyes stared at Tianyu vigilantly. However, then came the shocking scene. The giant wolf turned around and rushed towards Nanoha. See this scene? Tianyu didn't have any panic. Standing there, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. At the same time, he took out his flip phone from his pocket, getting ready for the next photo shoot. I saw the giant wolf hit Nanoha's pink semicircle of light. Suddenly, there was smoke. You can't see what's going on inside, but it can be seen. The giant wolf at least smashed an EIE for a few meters. Make full use of the effect of transforming into invincibility, just like when I played the game and opened the invincible. Tianyu couldn't help but sigh. The giant wolf stood at the top of the torii gate of the shrine. He looked down at Nanoha, who was sitting on the ground like a duck. Pigeon kiss. All of a sudden, Tianyu's stature increased dramatically. One kick kicked the giant wolf out of the torii. Falling on the ground is a frantic shot with a mobile phone. Nano is cute.jpg. Tianyu grinned and patted Nei. Little feather. Nai saw that Tianyu ran over to pat him again, and his face turned red all of a sudden. Roar! There was a fierce look in the eyes of the giant wolf. He got it. If you fight that boy, with his own strength, he is no match for that boy at all. And find that girl to fight, then the boy will definitely stop it. Even trying to escape is not an easy task. The giant wolf's gaze turned to Tianyu. You can see it from last night's fight. In terms of speed, this boy is ridiculously fast. As for that girl, completely a cannonball-shaped mage. It doesn't matter if you run there. If it doesn't work, then fight with the two of them. Roar! Accompanied by a roar. The giant wolf got up and rushed towards Tianyu and Nanoha. Nanoha quickly raised the heart of the rising sun in his hand. Protection released the shield for defense. Protection, all green and good defense. The heart of the sun rises. The giant wolf also pulled away and looked at the two people with vigilance. I will attack. You will seal, Tianyu said in a deep voice. Chapter 34. The seed of the fourth holy stone. Get it? Yuno, who was hiding aside, was completely stunned. Under such a strong attack, he was unscathed. This child really has extremely good talents, including that child's physical fitness. It is also far beyond ordinary people. Yuno looked at Tianyu and Nanoha in admiration. It hurts, It doesn't really hurt that much. Naya opened her eyes and said, just this kind of waste can still cause damage? I will attack, and you are responsible for taking the opportunity to seal it, Tianyu said in a deep voice. I know. Naya nodded vigorously. Roar! Suddenly, two pairs of dark wings appeared on both sides of the wolf's body. Fluttering his wings, he flew into the air. Do you think you'll be awesome if you have wings? Then I'll cut your wings off. Tianyu's figure slowly floated up. At the same time, a black sword with a red mark appeared in the right hand at an unknown time. The sword in his hand pointed at the giant wolf in front of him and said contemptuously, Roar! The furious giant wolf roared up to the sky. However, Tianyu's speed is even faster. Although a little accident happened in the middle of training in the morning. But now is the time to try. Using a low-level skill like Dance of the Sky is not a problem for Tianyu at all. As long as you control the output of Ki well, dancing the sky is not as difficult as you think, Tianyu Feiwu said softly in the air. All you need to do is gather the ki in your body. It can fly easily. Fly, fly, fly. Yuno's eyes widened as he looked at Tianyu floating in the air. The most important is Yuno didn't feel any magic fluctuations at all. It's like floating out of thin air. You said you can't do magic. Everyone has already flown into the air, and they say they won't. Impressive. Naruto's reaction was more muted. I said that I will cut off your wings today. I have cut your wings. Even if Jesus comes, it will be useless, I said, Tianyu said to the giant wolf with a sneer. By the way, he imitated Brother Xiao Ming and wiped the black long sword in his hand. Base, accompanied by a voice. Tianyu's figure disappeared in place without knowing when the two wings of the giant wolf were instantly cut off. The giant wolf that lost its wings also fell to the ground from the air. Xinyueliu, sword drawing technique. Breaking rock, chrysanthemum 1 character. At this time, Tianyu's light and fluttering voice came from the air. Yuno and Nanoha, who were present, had no idea what was going on. Obviously, there is still some distance from the giant wolf. But I don't know when it appeared behind the giant wolf. Along with the black sword in his hand, he cut off the two wings of the giant wolf. This speed is simply unbelievable. I can't even see his movements. Are people in this world so terrifying? Yuno was completely stunned. I thought that this world was just an ordinary world, not a world that everyone could use magic like Mid-Serta, so it was not under the management of the Time and Space Administration. But what is this? A 4-year-old child not only has the power of terror, there is also a speed that cannot be captured by the naked eye. It is simply beyond the realm of human beings. Roar! The giant wolf lay on the ground and let out a painful roar. Then, in this boring game, Tianyu's figure disappeared into the air again. It's time to reappear. A powerful axe hit the wolf's head with precision. Crack! Accompanied by a click sound. The giant wolf collapsed to the ground weakly. To know that wolf is a creature, it can be said that it has a great feature. That is copperhead and iron bone tofu waist. What does this sentence mean? It means that the wolf's waist and abdomen are very fragile and not resistant to beating. The head is the hardest place. This is the experience of people in many areas where wolves are haunted, based on their long-term battles with wolves. However, Tianyu slashed with an axe. Kick the wolf's skull to pieces. That just seal it? Nei asked Tianyu. Tianyu nodded. Heart of the rising sun, please. Nanoha said softly to the heart of the rising sun in her hands. All right, okay. The heart of the rising sun responded. Sealing mode. Setup. Immediately change the mode to seal mode. Countless pink bands of light emerged from the center of the heart of the rising sun, entangling the giant wolf. I don't know if it's hung up or what. The giant wolf did not respond. The forehead shows the 16 mark. Seed of the 16th holy stone. Tianyu nodded with satisfaction. This is a 100-point exchange point to the account. Stand by ready. The heart of the rising sun signifies readiness. Lilica Lu Maji Kalu. The seed of the holy stone. No.16 seal. Sealing. Nanoha successfully sealed the sacred stone seed. The fourth holy stone seed. Get it? I earn another 100 points. Tianyu picked up the heart of the rising sun in the air and threw it to Nanoha. Chapter 35. Personal panel today is the first day since Takamachi Naba became a magus, and the long first day after finally becoming a magus is coming to an end, and everything feels like a dream. It all feels like a dream. Nanoha was sitting on the stairs, looking up at the setting sun. I couldn't help but sigh. Well, it's good to get used to it later. Tianyu got up and patted the dust on his body and said, That's right, go home. I'm hungry too. Nai said with a smile. What? Tianyu nodded. The two of them walked slowly towards the house. Suddenly, a pool of black mud appeared in the woods. A pair of blood-red eyes looked at Tianyu and Nanoha, who were leaving. Then it disappeared. When the giant wolf was sealed just now, the tiger chose to sneak away on his own. However, because there is no holy stone seed on his body, so Tianyu didn't bother to pay attention. I want to see what this black mud is. Why does it always give me a very strange feeling? At night, Tianyu went back to his room and changed into his pajamas, and then came to Nei's room. It's a big night. You two don't sleep. What are you going to toss about? Tianyu yawned, carrying Yuno to Nei's room. Bet I want Yuno-kun to teach me about magic in detail. Nei said to Tianyu. Magic. At this time, Tianyu also touched his chin and thought. In terms of magic, it can be said that he has no knowledge of 10 or 9 orifices. Basically, fighting is based on physical skills. Now there is more key to use. It's interesting you talk about it. Tianyu's eyes turned to Yuno, who was on the side. Oh. Yuno nodded dumbly. In our magister's chest, there is a source of magic, the core of mind movement. With the core of mind movement, it can absorb the magic power source accumulated in the air and convert it into magic power. This is the application of magic, Yuno began to explain. And Naya also began to close his eyes and try. It's useless to me. Tianyu lost interest after listening to it, because Tianyu's inner core is completely opposite. Not only will it not absorb the magic power source that permeates the air and convert it into magic power. Instead, it is constantly absorbing the magic power in Tianyu's body. Yuno looked at Tianyu in confusion. I'll continue to practice, Ki. Tianyu yawned, lazy lying on Nei's bed. Gas. Nanoha, who had already tried, opened her eyes. Some puzzle questions. Yeah, it's something similar to magic. Tianyu explained. Similar to magic? Yuno was even more puzzled. Similar to magic. Is it a method unique to this world? Ki is the hidden energy in every living thing that can push the human body beyond its limits. Tianyu explained it roughly. That sounds like magic. Yuno still didn't understand. Forget it. You don't even understand it. Tianyu was completely too lazy to care about the ermine. At the same time, he asked his own system in his heart. System. Can you see what level of existence Nanoha's current ability belongs to? Can. The system responded immediately. At the same time, a panel about Nanoha appeared in front of Tianyu. Name: Takamachi Nanoha. Gender: female. Age: 9 years old. Mage. Heart of the Rising Sun. Combat power: 127W. Overall evaluation: AAA level magician. Nanoha's panel is not very long. Then can I see my own panel? Tianyu was then curious about his personal panel. Name: Takamachi Tianyu SX. Male. Age: 4 years old. Bloodline: Legend of the Super Saiyan abilities: 2 small swords and 2 swords. Yujinyu: the power of 12 spells. Items: Scarlet Dragon Emperor's Cage Hand, White Dragon Emperor's Light Wing. Yi Tian Book: Dragon's Reverse Scale. Exchange points: 100 combat power, 200W. Overall evaluation: S-Class Mage. This is a general situation of Tianyu's ability now. In terms of combat power, Nanoha has reached 127W, and his combat power has reached the level of 200W. In the comprehensive evaluation, at present, he can only be regarded as an S-rank magus. Seeing this, Tianyu couldn't help but be surprised. His own combat power of 2 million can only be regarded as an S-rank magister? That night sky attacking Breast King Heitai in the original book? Wrong. It should be the Yagami Kaze in the original book. That's an SS-level magister. According to this calculation method, could it be that the combat power of Yagami Gale has exceeded 400W? But on second thought, combat power and comprehensive rating should not be calculated like this. Chapter 36. The first Sunday after Nanoha became a magical girl. Nai Tianyu. It's dawn, it's time to get up. Early morning, Yuno cautiously pushed open the door of Nanoha's room. He jumped to the side of the bed and woke the two of them up. Today is Sunday, just let me sleep for a while, Naya said in a daze. Nanoha, Koba. Yuno kept urging Nanoha and Tianyu to get up. Seeing Naiba, he didn't pay attention to himself, so he increased the volume. Now ye, Xiao Yu, get up quickly. Tianyu, who was sleeping next to him, covered his ears impatiently. He leaned into Naiba's arms. Hey, Naya, Xiao Yu, the two of you get up quickly. Yuno kept urging the two of them to get up. Recently, the schedules of Tianyu and Nei have undergone tremendous changes. The current Tianyu is constantly practicing swords during the day. At night, I went out to search for Sacred Stone Seed. Naya has been similar recently. During the day, he was just an ordinary elementary school student. At night, as a magical girl, she helps Yuno search for the seed of the Holy Stone. You are arguing with me. I peeled your skin to make a scarf for my mother. It's really Tianyu who has been quarreled. Suddenly, he poked his head out of the bed. A pair of eyes stared at Yuno. Using his mind power, Yuno was thrown aside at will. After Yuno heard Tianyu's threat, he couldn't help shivering. It has been a week since Nanoha became a magical girl recently. A total of 5 Holy Stone Seeds have been collected so far, except for the 3 Holy Stone Seeds collected at the very beginning. Recently, the frequency of Holy Stone Seed activation has become less and less. But just in case, at night, Tianyu and Nei would choose to sneak out of the house secretly and go outside to search carefully to see if there is any Sacred Stone Seed that has not been activated. Of course, Tianyu will continue to check in every day this week. Got something different from the system, but they're all about everyday skills. Some can't be used to fight at all. But fortunately, I also acquired a good skill. They are God-level cooking, God-level riding and driving, Grandmaster level 6 naval style, God-level hacking technology, and a fund of 100 million yuan. For Tianyu, except for the Grandmaster level 6 naval form, other skills seem to be of little use. For example, God-level riding and driving skill, God-level riding and driving level. EX effect. It can easily control all kinds of mounts, vehicles, dimensional warships, and other vehicles in ancient and modern China and abroad. Quite a good skill. It's just useless for combat. It's not as good as the original Xinyueliu sword drawing technique. At least in the future, even if you go to Midsurda, you can take the driver's license test and play. Then take a good rest today, Yuno said embarrassedly. We've already collected all 5 Holy Stone Seeds, and there's no sign of it being activated recently, so let Nei take a good rest. If you dare to make more noise, I'll just peel it off. After speaking, Tianyu retracted back into Naiye's arms and fell asleep. That's true. 5 holy stone seeds have been collected, and there are no signs of activation recently. It's better to take a good rest, or your body will be overwhelmed. Yuno said quickly. Xiao Yu, get up. We still have things to do today. The exhausted Nanoha pushed Tianyu next to him. Makes sense, Tianyu rubbed his temples and said. Today, the matter of the seed of the holy stone will be suspended for a day. Come back at night and have a good rest. Nai said to Tianyu. All right. Tianyu sat up lazily from the bed. By the way, the bit of magic power was given to Nanoha. Help Nanoha to adjust the state of the body. Nei doesn't have the power of a horse spell like Tianyu does. So every morning, Tianyu would give Nanoha some magic power to help him adjust his state. I guess there will be a holy stone seed today. After transferring the magic power to Nai, Tianyu suddenly said, Yeah, now I got a little weird. Can you predict the future? Yuno was also surprised. Sometimes if you don't look for it, then it will appear by itself. Tianyu sat on the bed and stretched and said, Is that right? Naya tilted her head in thought. In fact, Tianyu knew that the reason why Sacred Stone Seed would appear today was very simple. Today is the day when my father, Shiro Takamachi, is also the coach and owner of the football team, Suya JFC. So Nanoha has made an agreement with her 2 good best friends, Alyssa and Suzuka, to go cheer for everyone on the football team together. Chapter 37. Suzuka and Alyssa, shocking existence. Nai and Tianyu both got up and took a shower. They came to the football field by the river. At this time, Alyssa and Suzuka were already waiting. You 2 are here. The first to say hello was a young lady with golden brown hair who looked like a very strong tsundere. Wearing a red dress gives a very strong feeling. This is Alyssa Barnes, one of Nanoha's 2 best friends. Said to be a United States man. My parents and grandfather ran dozens of companies between Japan and the United States. Once upon a time, Alyssa was a girl who liked to joke and prank others very much. Because when I played a prank on Suzuka, as a result, he was slapped by Nanoha and slapped. After that, he became friends with Naya. Xiao Yu, good morning. Next to Alyssa is a man with long purple hair. Wearing a white dress gives a very peaceful feeling, as gentle as Yamato Nadeshiko. This is another good friend of Naiba, Sakamura Suzuka. It is also a wealthy existence. By the way, Nanoha, Tianyu, and Suzuka have known each other since a very early age. And the reason is very simple. Because Tsukamura, Suzuka's sister, Tsukamura Shinobu, and Takamachi Kyouya have known each other since high school. Later, I often came to the Tsu Cafe to help. Sometimes I bring the young Tsukamura Suzuka to the Tsu Cafe. It seems that Suzuka and Alyssa are just ordinary people, and they don't feel any magic power around them. Could it be that I really think too much? Tianyu looked at Suzuka carefully, shaking his head in disappointment. Xiao Yu, what's wrong? Suzuka shook her head inexplicably when she saw Tianyu. Then some strange questions were asked. It's okay. Tianyu quickly waved his little hand and said, In fact, everyone who knows the game Triangle Heart knows. The Uetsun family is not as simple as one might imagine. In this game's settings, the Uetsun family has the name of the Night Clan. What is the Night Clan? That is the legendary vampire. You heard right, the Tsukamura family is a family of vampires. Although in the Magic Girl Nanoha series, it is not specified that the Tsukamura family has a vampire bloodline. But Tianyu never relaxes, judging from the various data collected by Tianyu over the past few years. The world is not as simple as I imagined. Therefore, that's why Tianyu learned swordsmanship from an early age. Just in case. However, he already possesses the magic existence. Still can't see Tsukamura Suzuka's problem. Perhaps it's not necessarily that you think too much. As for Alyssa, the setting in the game Triangle Heart is Wraith. System, can you open the personal panels of these 2 people? Tianyu couldn't see anything wrong. Only asked for help from the system. Name, Tsukamura Suzuka. Gender, female. Age, 9 years old. Race, vampire. Combat strength, 500. Introduction. The most talented being in the history of the blood clan of the Uetsun family. He has excellent motor nerves, and he has the blood of the vampire ancestors who have not yet fully awakened. Tianyu, who saw Tsukamura's Suzuka profile, couldn't help but gasp. This Tsukamura Suzuka is really a vampire. Want to be so cool? I am in the world of Magic Girl Nanoha, not the world of Triangle Heart. When looking at Alyssa, name Alyssa Barnes, gender, female, age, 9 years old, race, Wraith combat strength, 200 introduction. Miss Kianjin, who was born in a capital family, has excellent learning ability, is a girl with a very straightforward personality, and her race is a grievance. Let's go and sit over there. Alyssa pointed to the bench beside her and said, Alyssa, Suzuka, and Nanoha walked over to the bench. Do you feel any difference between these two people? Tianyu asked in a low voice. What? Yuno was stunned. I don't know what Tianyu is talking about. No, forget it. Tianyu shook his head helplessly. But what makes Tianyu a little jealous is whether there is a god in this world. Other than that, it's the black mud. What the hell is that black mud? Is there any secret in this world that I don't know? But before that, collect the Holy Stone Seed, and there are 2 elite-level God Slayer tools. Even a god can solve it. Thinking of this, Tianyu couldn't help sighing. After all, I always feel as if I have come to a very extraordinary world, a supernatural world with vampires, wraiths, and magic. Hopefully nothing too tough will happen next. Your support. Thanks to the 1100 VIP points rewarded by Gfr. Thank you very much. Don't worry about TJ, as long as someone supports it. This book will not be TJ. I hope you can support a lot. Chapter 38. Shadows in the Shadows. Okay, so now that the auditorium is full, it's almost time to start the game. Shiro Takamachi in a blue tracksuit. He covered his shoulders with his hands and looked at the middle-aged man in brown sportswear sitting beside him. Yes. The man nodded in agreement. Come on, everyone come on. Alyssa and Suzuka cheered happily on the side. This should be the sports of this world, right? Yuno was a little unsure and asked Nanoha using magic. Yeah, it's a sport called football. Naya nodded and replied. But Tianyu, who was sitting beside him, was absent-minded, always looking back and forth at the surroundings. What's wrong? Yuno noticed that Tianyu was not quite right. So he climbed to Tianyu's shoulder and asked softly in Tianyu's ear. Something's not quite right. Tianyu replied in a deep voice. Not quite right. Then Yuno also began to observe the surroundings, getting Nanoha ready for battle. After speaking, Tianyu threw Yuno on his shoulders aside, ready to get up and leave. Xiao Yu, where are you going? Nanoha saw Tianyu get up, quickly asked. It's okay, I'll go to the bathroom. Tianyu turned his head and smiled and left. Oh, wow. Naya nodded and continued to watch the football game on the field. At this time on the roof of a building, a pool of black mud kept squirming, reincarnated into a pure black figure. Target leave away can start, the black mud said in a low voice intermittently. Is that the kid? It doesn't look too strong. How could you fail over and over again? A figure in a black cloak stepped forward. The voice should be a female. He. Physics. Duant. Strong. Magic. No. Understand. The black figure said intermittently again. Is the physical attack method strong? No wonder you are still alive now. Thanks to your physical immunity. The man in the cloak chuckled and said. However, judging from the situation of the seed of the holy stone that was activated before, it can be seen that he seems to have mastered magic. But you do not have the seed of the holy stone, so I'll let you go. From the shadows came again a petite, black figure in a cloak. Judging from the previous videos you sent back, most of his attack methods are mainly physical, although his combat power is very strong. He can't help you because of his limited attack methods. But we are different. But without your physical immunity method, I'm afraid it will be a bit tricky next. The cloak man said in a deep voice. Holden. You girls, the black mud said intermittently again. You mean we're going to deal with that girl? The petite man in the cloak asked. Boy me. Girl you. Black mud nodded. Yes. Collect 21 holy stone seeds early and activate the final weapon early. The petite man in the cloak nodded. The 5 holy stone seeds are all in the girl's hands. Our goal is to collect holy stone seeds and leave here as soon as we get the holy stone seeds. Another cloaked man exhorted. I stop, boy, 5 minutes? You as soon as possible. Black Mud also warned. 5 minutes is enough. The petite man in the cape said 5 minutes would be no problem. Soon the football match came to an end with the victory of Jiwoo JFC. At this time, Tianyu was also long overdue. Just now Tianyu made a circle around him. No valuable clues were found, although I have always had that strange feeling in my heart. But after this circle, I didn't find that black mud. In desperation, he returned to the court by the river. Ah, Xiao Yu, you're back. Nai happily looked at Tianyu, who came over. Well, seeing you so happy, did you win the game? Tianyu asked with a smile. In the end, Tsuewu JFC won the game. Nei's excited face turned red. Yeah, that's fantastic. What Tianyu cares about is not whether Jade House JFC has won. What he cared about was the strange feeling in his heart. When I had that feeling a few times before, there was that black mud. Does this mean that the black mud is nearby? But Tianyu finally chose to leave it alone. Let's wait until the black mud appears. Sometimes thinking too much doesn't mean it's a good thing. On the contrary, it is very likely that it will affect your combat status. Your support. Chapter 39. The seed of the sixth holy stone. After the game is over, everyone came to the Tsu Cafe to hold a celebration banquet. Peach is also very considerate to prepare lunch for everyone early. The members of Jiwoo JFC sat excitedly in the Jiwoo Cafe, enjoying the food prepared by Peaches for everyone. As for Tianyu and Nanoha and others, for people moved a small table. Hold an umbrella outside, sit outside, and enjoy dessert. Yuno stood on the table helplessly. Suzuka and Alyssa looked at Yuno carefully. Nai sent a look for help to Tianyu. However, Tianyu decisively chose to ignore it, silently tasting the delicious cake in hand. Look carefully. Don't you think it's a little different from a normal ferret? Alyssa said, excitedly looking at Yuno, who was standing in the center of the table. Speaking of which, it's true. The director of the veterinary hospital also said it was very strange. Suzuka nodded in agreement. However, Naiho was frightened by her two good girlfriends. Suddenly widened his eyes. Could it be that his two good girlfriends saw something? So Nai quickly tugged at the corner of Tianyu's clothes sitting next to him, hoping that Tianyu could help him clear the siege. What's the difference? It's just a weird ferret anyway. Tianyu put down the cake in his hand, curled his lips, and said with disdain, That's right. Look, Yuno, reach out. Nanoha hurriedly stretched out her small hand towards Yuno. Chirp. Yuno also knew that Nanoha was helping himself out. Seriously, he put his little hand on Nei's. Wow, so cute. Alyssa and Suzuka were also instantly captured by Yuno's cute appearance. So clever, so clever. Alyssa stretched out her little hand and touched Yuno's little head. Awesome. Suzuka also reached out a small hand and touched Yuno's head. As for Tianyu, he chose to watch the show while gloating. Soon Jade House JFC's celebration banquet was over. All the staff stood at the door and said to Shiro, Thank you for your hospitality. Everyone performed very well today. Starting from next week, everyone must make persistent efforts and continue to win the next game. Shiro urged everyone. Yes. All the staff responded with high morale. Then let's disband. Be careful on the way back. Shiro warned the group of children. Thank you. All the staff nodded their thanks to Shiro. They all left the Tsuewu Cafe. Tianyu, who has been paying attention to the situation here. I saw a boy wearing a Jiwoo JFC uniform and took out an azure gem from the bag he was carrying. After looking at the gem in his hand, as if he had made up his mind, put the gem in his pants pocket. In that instant, Naya seemed to feel something. He turned his attention to the boy. Thanks for your hard work. Soon a girl with long brown hair and a blue tracksuit ran towards the boy. Thanks for your hard work. The boy nodded. The two then left the place side by side. It should be an illusion. Naya was a little unsure. That's funny. Look, Nanoha. Saying that, Alyssa handed Yuno, whose eyes were already rolling, to Nanoha. Okay, let's disband too. Alyssa picked up the small bag woven from the pillars that was set aside. Well, that's what I said. Suzuka also picked up her small bag. Really? Everyone has something to do this afternoon. Nanoha asked after looking at Suzuka and Alyssa. Yeah, I'm going out with my sister this afternoon, Suzuka said happily. I'm going shopping with Dad. Alyssa was also very excited. Nice. Tell me about it on Monday, Naya said with a smile. Oh, are you disbanding too? Shiro came over and asked. Dad, Naiba and Tianyu greeted Shiro. Thank you for your invitation today. Alyssa quickly thanked her. The competition was really good too, Suzuka praised. Ha! Thank you, Suzuka and Alyssa, for cheering us on, Shiro said with a smile. Then, Naya, let's go too, Tianyu said to Nanoha. Naya didn't respond for a while. Didn't you promise me that you would accompany me to the park in the afternoon? Tianyu said to Nanoha, a little unhappy. You guys are going to the park this afternoon, Shiro said with a smile. Naya seemed to want to say something. It was interrupted by Tianyu. No, let's go and play. Tianyu held on to Nanoha, etc. Naya still didn't realize what happened. He was dragged by Tianyu and left the Tsuewu Cafe. Your support. Chapter 40. Multiplication of limits. Xiao Yu. Where are you going so fast? Nei asked with some doubts. The man seemed to have the seed of the holy stone in his hand just now. Tianyu replied quickly. Looked incredible. Sure enough. Did the boy just now hold it? Naya suddenly recalled. The presence of the holy stone seed was felt in that boy. It's just because I'm so tired. Thought it was just an illusion. The boy and girl who left on the other side came to a zebra crossing. Wait for the traffic light to turn green. You are really good today? The girl quietly glanced at the boy beside her and said with a slightly reddish face. No, it's not my fault alone. You see, we won thanks to our great defenders. The boy answered quickly. But you're also very handsome today. The girl lowered her head and said softly. Ha ha. The boy blushed and looked away. Suddenly, it seemed like something came to mind. Ah, that's right. The boy hurriedly put his hand in his pocket to find The girl was a little puzzled. Don't know what the boy is doing. Come on, this is for you. Saying that, the boy took out the sacred stone seed that had not been activated from his trousers pocket. So beautiful. The girl looked at the azure gem in the boy's hand. Couldn't help being surprised. It's probably just a stone handle, but it's beautiful. The boy scratched his cheek, blushing. Some embarrassed said, Do you really want to give this to me? The girl asked uncertainly. Well, I think this thing should be very suitable for you. The boy nodded. Then I'll take it. The girl blushed and stretched out her hand to take this sacred stone seed from the boy's hand. But at this time, a miracle happened. When the girl's hand touched the holy stone seed, sacred stone seed suddenly lit up with a blue light. Immediately afterwards, an azure light enveloped the two of them. An azure light pierced the sky. In the distance, Nai and Tianyu also saw this light penetrating the sky. Oops, it's too late, Yuno said in a low voice. Go to the nearby rooftop. After saying that, Tianyu and Nei ran towards the top of the nearest building. Heart of the rising sun, please. Nanoha threw up the heart of the rising sun in her hand. Stand ready, set UP, ready, start. Nanoha also quickly activated the heart of the rising sun to complete the transformation. Came to the top of the building. The two of them froze in place. How? It becomes like this. Nanoha's eyes were full of experience. Tisk TSK. Good guy. The tree world is born. Tianyu couldn't help but click his tongue. Because in front of them are completely towering trees, dozens of meters high. The entire street is covered with trees. My God! Naruto didn't expect such a thing to happen. This should be initiated by people. When initiated by someone with a strong desire, the seed of the holy stone will exert its greatest power. Yuno said with a solemn expression on the side. Xiao Yu, what should I do at this time? Naya bit her lower lip and asked. If you want to seal, you have to get close to it first. So we have to find its starting point. However, with such a large spread, where should we start? Yuno didn't know what to do for a while. It's very simple. Use exploration magic to cover all aspects. Tianyu on the side explained. The range is so large, Nanoha's magic power may not be able to do it. Yuno said with some concern. Just find the starting point. Nei asked with some doubts. Let go and do it. I am in other areas. The corners of Tianyu's mouth rose slightly. At the same time, The right hand called out the cage hand of the Red Dragon Emperor again. Naya nodded. Area search. Nanoha clenched the heart of the rising sun in her hands. You can search with confidence. Leave other questions to me. Tianyu clenched his right hand. Extremity boost. Extreme multiplier. From the Scarlet Dragon Emperor's cage hand. I thought of a low male voice full of magnetism. This is a skill created by Tianyu's idle boredom. Converts Red Dragon Emperor's cage hand to double the wielder's power every 10 seconds, transforming it into a limit doubling within the range that the body can withstand in an instant. It only needs to be strengthened once, and the power of Scarlet Dragon Emperor's cage hand can be enhanced to the extreme. However, there is also a disadvantage. That is because the multiplication of power is performed in a short period of time. It will cause the body to strengthen too much at once and cause the body to not be able to bear it. Your support. Chapter 41. Undercurrent, countless energies were released from the wand in Nanoha's hand. It has the gift of the Red Dragon Emperor as a bonus. Not only has it greatly improved Nanoha's current magic power, at the same time, the consumption of the user's mana by Heart of the Rising Sun has been enhanced. Wide area searches, a kind of magic for medium-range search. Use magic to generate countless things called search ends and launch them nearby. Search end. When the search object is found, the user will be able to see nearby situations through magic. This is a kind of magic that consumes a lot of magic power and spiritual power. Found it. Naruto suddenly opened his eyes. Really? Yuno also asked quickly. I'll seal it now. Nanoha clenched the Heart of the Rising Sun in his hand and said in a deep voice, It's too far. It has to be close. Yuno frowned. It can be done. No problem. Tianyu said. Yuno was a little puzzled. You can seal it with the last bombardment. Then he turned his eyes to Naiha, who was beside him. There's enough magic power. Tianyu asked. Naya nodded vigorously. Tianyu's limit multiplication just now doubled his magic power to the limit. Immediately afterwards, the multiplied magic power was divided into 3 and transferred to the Heart of the Rising Sun and Nanoha. However, the magic power transferred into Nanoha's body was not too much. For a brief moment, the magic power of Nanoha was increased to more than 500 W in an instant. Judging from the feedback from the system, Nanoha's current body can only withstand about 700 W. As for the excess, the rest was used to feed the Gnotic movement core in Tianyu's body. It's really gluttonous. Tianyu felt that the mind-of-mind movement in his body had devoured most of the magic power, and was speechless for a while, not afraid that he would be overwhelmed by this huge magic power. Mod change cannon mode. Mode change, shelling mode. Nanoha also converted the Heart of the Rising Sun in his hand to the shelling mode again. Go catch it. Gather the magic power in the body to the Heart of the Rising Sun. At the same time, Naiha closed her eyes. Use search end to precisely lock the location of Holy Stone Seed. Stand by ready. Under the control of Nanoha, the Heart of the Rising Sun has accurately locked the location of the Holy Stone Seed. Lilica Magicaru. Seed of Holy Stone No.X. Seal. Naiha tightly held the Heart of the Rising Sun in his hands. Boom! A thick magic beam of light penetrated the trees in front of him. Easily sealed the Holy Stone Seed. Didn't show up? Tianyu couldn't help frowning. I thought that the black mud would appear again. It is a pity. Did not appear. At the same time, Tianyu always had a lingering ominous feeling in his heart. Calculate the time. It should be almost there. It seems we have to speed up the plan. Tianyu looked at the sun that had set. I also started to plan the next plan in my mind. Xiao Yu, go home. Nanoha said to Tianyu after removing her protective suit and wand. Tianyu nodded. After the first 2 fights with the black mud. In addition, I watched the battle video recorded by Heart of the Rising Sun many times. Now Tianyu also has some understanding of the opponent's fighting style. It can be said that black mud is a complete copy of Bu. Not only has a super vitality, but also has a strong regeneration ability. It can be said that the energy of the black mud is not exhausted, so it can be regenerated without limit and quickly return to its original appearance in a very short period of time. Although the combat power is not too strong, but it can't stand the amazing regeneration ability, especially when Tianyu faced it. Tianyu, who was only good at various physical attacks, couldn't do anything about it. Although the strength is stronger than that black mud, but the ability is completely targeted by the opponent. Name: Takamachi Tianyu SX. Male age: 4 years old. Bloodline: Legend of the Super Saiyan abilities. 2 small swords and 2 swords, the power of the 12 spells, the sword-drawing technique of Xiao Yu, the 6 naval styles, God-level cooking, God-level riding and driving, God-level hacking technology items. Crimson Dragon Emperor's Cage Hand, White Dragon Emperor's Light Wings, Book of Night Sky, Dragon's Reverse Scale, 100 million yuan of funds exchange points, 300 combat power, 200 W overall evaluation. S-Class Mage. It can be seen from the current Tianyu personal panel. The magic attack ability that Tianyu is good at is only the power of 12 charms. But in 12 charms, only the Dragon Charm and the Pig Charm can damage the opponent. The power of the Cow Charm is useless. From this, it could be seen that when Tianyu faced the Black Mud, he could not cause any substantial damage at all. This is also the reason why Tianyu chose to practice Ki. Although the Book of Night Sky can easily solve the opponent, but after eating so many times in a row, it seems that you always have the upper hand, but in fact the other party is the one who has the upper hand. Next time, I must destroy him and all the cells in one fell swoop. Tianyu clenched his fists and thought to himself. In the darkness, 2 pairs of eyes stared at Tianyu and Nanoha, who were leaving. Your support. Chapter 42. Maid Sisters of Moon Village. Nah. Aren't you ready yet? Early morning gong also asked loudly towards the stairs. As for Tianyu, he was lying lazily on the sofa, enjoying Miyuki's lap pillow. I'm sorry. I'll be fine soon. Soon, Nanoha's voice came down from the upstairs. Huh? Are you going out today? Miyuki, who was sitting on the sofa, asked curiously. Yeah. Go to Tsukamura's house, and Suzuka invites Nanoha and Xiao Yu to play. Gong also nodded and said, Oh, I got it. Miyuki nodded. So, Gong also wants to see our in? Miyuki said with a smile. Well, let's meet by the way, Kyungsu said with a slightly erratic look in his eyes. That being said, but when are you going to marry Sister Anin? Tianyu, who was lying on Miyuki's lap, said leisurely. Yeah. In an instant, Kyouya's face turned red. Sorry for the waiting. At this time, Naiba had already packed up and finished walking down. His expression was full of joy. It's been a long time since Naiba. Then let's go. Otherwise, we'll miss the bus. Gong also quickly changed the subject. Okay. Tianyu and Yuno replied in unison. Let's go. Yuno. The corners of Tianyu's mouth rose unconsciously. You go well. Miyuki said hello. We're leaving, bye. Tianyu left the house with Gongya and Nani. Speaking of which, although Tianyu has been in this world for 4 years, he has never been to Yuetsuin's house once. In the past, I stayed at home and practiced swords. Otherwise, follow Momoko and Shiro to the Tsu Cafe to help, and then stay at home. Today, Suzuka invited Nani and Tianyu to have a tea party at home to spend this rare weekend vacation together. As for Gongyi, it was to see Suzuka's sister, Tsukamura Shinobu. Since the activation of the Holy Stone Seed in the previous lesson to the present, another week has passed. Nothing else happened during this period. Even the Sacred Stone Seed showed no sign of being activated during this period of time. But Tianyu always felt an ominous feeling. Soon the 3 of them took the bus to Yuetsuin's house. Naruto rang the doorbell excitedly. Immediately afterwards, a maid with short purple hair and wearing a maid outfit opened the door. Mr. Gongya, Miss Nei, Master Tianyu, welcome. The maid greeted with a smile. Well, I've been honored. Gong also nodded and said with a smile. Hello. Nai and Tianyu also greeted each other. You know me? Tianyu became vigilant in the next moment, because from the maid in front of me, I couldn't feel the presence of Ki. During this time, Tianyu was fortunate enough to get the Ki cultivation method from the check-in. Now Tianyu can feel everyone's Ki. I can also feel the Ki of Yuno the Sable. But he couldn't feel the presence of the maid's Ki in front of him at all. This is the head maid of the Tsukamura family, Noel. Nai quickly introduced to Tianyu. At this time, Tianyu also recalled some plots in the original work. Noelle Kido Elrichkit is one of the maids of the Tsukamura family. It can be said that she is the exclusive maid of Tsukamura shinobi. The younger sister is Farron Kidong Elichkit. In terms of age, he is about 6 years older than Suzuka and Nanoha. She is also the exclusive maid of Tsukamura Suzuka. The most important is these two maids are not human at all. In the setting of the game Triangle Heart, these two are robot maids created by Tsukamura Suzuka. If it is a robot, it is normal to not feel the presence of ki. If it's really made by Tsukamura Suzuka, Naokamura Suzuka's technological capabilities are beyond Tianyu's imagination. It is possible to create a robot made that is no different from ordinary people. Indeed, this world is becoming more and more unrepentant. I don't think I will feel strange when monsters and demons appear that day. Tianyu thought to himself in his heart. This way, please. Noelle motioned for the three to come in, with Noelle leading the way. The three people came to a greenhouse made of glass inside. Many cats lie here. At this time, Tianyu turned his attention to a young, purple-haired woman who was facing him and others. It was a girl with purple waist-length hair. In terms of age, he is about the same age as Gong. The appearance is similar to Suzuka, wearing a white t-shirt. Next to Suzuka was a girl who looked exactly like Noelle, who must be Noelle's younger sister Farron. Your support. Chapter 43. Tea Party Invitation. Strange magic. The Suzuka shinobi who was sitting there had a very strong ki, which was much stronger than Suzuka's ki. It could be said that he was the strongest person in the field except Nani and Tianyu. No, without guessing. The one who looked about the same age as Gong Yao was Tsukamura Shinobu. Little Feather, Nanoha, and Kyouya-san. Suzuka quickly stood up and greeted the three of them. Suzuka. Hello, Suzuka-san. Tianyu and Nanoha greeted Suzuka one after another. Chirp. Yuno on Tianyu's shoulder also greeted Suzuka. As for why Yuno is on Tianyu's shoulders. Yuno said that he is still young and has not lived enough. This vinegar jar can't be provoked by himself. A few times ago, Yuno wanted to go to Nanoha's room to teach Nanoha how to use magic. No greetings to Nanoha and Tianyu. As a result, he broke in, angrily. Tianyu grabbed Yuno and hanged him for a whole day, and finally used the power of the monkey charm to completely solidify Yuno's form into the current ferret form. Until now, Yuno has not been released. So far, Yuno understands one thing. Tianyu is completely a large vinegar jar if he ran on Anaya's shoulder again. I'm afraid this little guy will really pick up his own skin to make a scarf. Nanoha, welcome. Farron, who was standing by the side, also greeted Nanoha. As for the little boy next to him, Farron said she had never seen one. By the way, Xiao Yu has not seen Farron before. Suzuka suddenly came to a realization. This is Farron. She is Suzuka's personal maid, and she is a very gentle and cheerful sister. Nei also introduced to Tianyu. Kyouya, Koba, Nanoha, welcome. Aran also came over happily and greeted the three of them. Gong also looked at Aran with tenderness in his eyes. Tsukamura Shinobu and Takamachi Kyouya are classmates in high school. Although I don't know if it is a couple relationship now, but the relationship between the two people is very close now. By the way, when he was in high school, Ninja often came to the Jade House Cafe to help out, so I am familiar with Tianyu. I'm going to prepare tea. What do you three want to drink? Noelle, who was standing behind the three, asked softly. I'll leave it to you. Gong also turned his head and said, what about Miss Nei and Master Tianyu? Noelle turned his attention to Nanoha and Tianyu again. I'm begging you too. Nai replied. Me too. Tianyu also said that it was decided to leave it to Noelle. Okay, I know, leave it to me. Noelle smiled slightly, and then called to Farron who was standing beside Suzuka. Fallon. Yes. Understood, sister. Fallon smiled and saluted before walking over. Then, Gongya and I went back to the room. Anan took Kyouya's hand and said. His expression was full of joy. Okay, I'll send it to the room later. Noelle smiled and nodded. Wait until Farron walks to Noelle's side. The two sisters bowed and turned away. Nei and Tianyu walked towards Noelle and Suzuka. Tianyu found a free stool at random. Nei chose to sit opposite Tianyu. Good morning. Suzuka and Alyssa greeted Tianyu and Nanoha. Good morning. The two siblings also greeted each other. Suzuka's elder sister, Naiba, and Xiao Yu looked so affectionate. Alyssa said with a smile. Ha ha ha. Suzuka smiled and nodded. Then his eyes turned to Arin and Gongya, who were slouching at the door. He continued, my sister is always so happy after getting to know Gongya. I don't know how, but compared to before, it seems that I have become more considerate, and I am more laughable than before. Naya's gaze also turned to Arin and Kyouya. The two seemed to be in love with each other. Tianyu also laughed. In an instant, Yuno was thrown to the ground. Unknown Yuno just landed. I saw a few pairs of eyes looking at myself, and I couldn't help shivering. Look at Tianyu again. Yes. Alyssa and Suzuka looked like they used to be. As for Yuno, he saw several cats staring at him. She was so frightened that she shivered and dared not move. I couldn't help but think to myself, this guy is definitely taking revenge on himself. He actually threw himself into the cat group. Right? Thank you for your invitation today. Nanoha also thanks Suzuka. There. I'm glad you guys can come. Suzuka said with a smile. Suddenly Tianyu felt several extremely powerful magic powers appearing nearby. It's just that this magic power is different from that of Nanoha and Yuno. One of them is also full of destructiveness. Chapter 44. Strange man, although Tianyu really wanted to get out of here to find out. But after all, I just came to the tea party. It would be very rude to leave like this, only to see what the other party's purpose is. If it's for Naiba, no matter what, you have to seize the time to solve the trouble. You look so energetic today. Alyssa looked at Nanoha and said with a smile. Naiha looked at Alyssa in confusion. Nanoha has been lethargic lately. I'm often distracted in class, and it looks like I have something on my mind. If I have something on my mind, can you tell us? We are both worried about you. Suzuka smiled and looked at Nanoha. Hope to know what happened to Naiha recently. Suzuka, Alyssa. Naiba first looked at Suzuka on the side. Then he looked at Alyssa next to him. Tweet, 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 tweet. Suddenly, a discordant cry broke this warm and beautiful picture. Uno-kun. Naiha quickly stood up. It turned out that Yuno was being chased by a cat. So frightened, Yuno had no choice but to flee in a hurry. Love, don't do that. Suzuka also hurriedly stood up to stop the cat's behavior. At this time, Farron also came back with a tea set and dessert and said, I'm sorry for keeping you all waiting. This is strawberry milk tea and cream cheesecake. Chirp, chirp. Yuno hurriedly ducked under Farron's feet, trying to get rid of the cat behind him. However, the cat is not what he wants. The cat named Love followed behind Yuno. Fallon, who was a little confused, was a little untenable for a while, dodged in a hurry in place. Watching Yuno's actions, in Tianyu's mind, 5 very interesting words came to mind. King walked around the pillar. At this time, Farron was also dizzy. Fallon, dangerous, Suzuka yelled anxiously. Nanoha and Suzuka hurriedly ran behind Farron to support Farron. However, some tea sets accidentally fell to the ground. It's safe. Naiha and Suzuka looked at Farron and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. As for Yuno, he had already escaped and ran outside. What? At this time, Farron also responded. Quickly adjust the body. I'm going to find Yuno and come back. Tianyu's eyes lit up when he saw Yuno running away. I'm worried about how I should escape. As a result, Yuno ran out in fright and found a reason for himself to go out. In the mountains behind Uetsuin's house, there are 2 cute kittens, one black and one white. The black kitten stood in front of the white kitten. The hair all over his body seemed to explode. He kept wagging his tail behind him. The look is wicked. Facing a Western man in a black suit in front of him, he kept baring his teeth. Little cat, you can't escape. Why don't you go back with me obediently? The man said to the 2 cats with a chuckle. Meow. The black cat made a low voice at the man, obviously threatening the man. It's useless. No one can save you. The man didn't take the black cat's threat seriously. In its view, it's nothing more than 2 kittens. You still go back with me obediently. It's useless even if you scream. The man still kept his usual smile. It looked like he was communicating with the 2 cats in front of him. Meow. Meow. The white cat behind him kept barking up to the sky. At this time, the black cat and the man were also stunned. If you can understand the cat's language, then you must be able to understand. This cute little white cat is shouting, "Break the throat! Break the throat! It seems that after we get rid of you, we will bring you back." The man's expression suddenly became gloomy. Breaking into Uetsuin's house without saying hello to the owner here and wanting to forcibly take these two cats away. Suddenly, a childish voice sounded. Then I saw a child of about 4 or 5 years old emerge from the grass behind the two kittens. In front of the two kittens, holding a black long sword, a pair of cold eyes fell on the man in front of him. The visitor felt a few strange, magic fluctuations. In order to find as an excuse. Tianyu who sneaked out. The man looked at Tianyu in front of him. He looked at the two cats behind him. Prepare to coax the child in front of you away first. Little friend, these two kittens are mine. It should be normal for me to take them away. The man smiled and said to Tianyu, "Yours? You say yours is yours." Tianyu smiled contemptuously. "Your support. Thanks to Xiao 8148, the number in the middle will not be leaked, for the reward of 1100 VIP points. Thank you very much." Chapter 45. The superior demon of the Nobelius family split. Little friend, these two kittens are mine. It should be normal for me to take them away. The man smiled and said to Tianyu, "Yours? You say yours is yours." Tianyu smiled contemptuously. "Don't you believe it's mine?" the man said with a smile. "Joke, if this is your cat, how could it be so afraid of you?" Tianyu asked back. Then, a fierce look flashed in the man's eyes. He blew lightly in the direction where Tianyu was standing. I saw Tianyu waving the black sword in his hand. It was easy to cut out a sword energy. Don't you know that your mouth stinks? What if you get smoked? Even if you don't get smoked, even if you get flowers and plants, it's not good. Tianyu put on a look of disgust. Holding his nose with his hand, he said, "How can it be?" When the man saw Tianyu's appearance, a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. "Originally, I just wanted to use magic power to make this kid faint. But I didn't expect it's actually ineffective against this little devil in front of him." "Little devil, who are you?" the man asked sharply. "Me? I'm just an ordinary person passing by. Remember it for me?" Tianyu replied. "Ordinary people? Are you the exorcist of the church?" the man asked in a low voice. "Exorcist? I'm still a demon." Tianyu pouted and said disdainfully. "It turns out that you're also a demon. For the sake of you and me, hand over the two kittens to me, and you can leave." After the man heard Tianyu's words, with a grin, he said arrogantly, "Oh, you turn out to be a devil." At this time, Tianyu was also a little surprised. "I didn't expect that there are actually demons. I am the 24th ranked demon from the Nobelius family branch in the 72 columns." The man said arrogantly, "I'm still the pure-blooded superior demon of the Gremory family, who ranks 56th in the 72 columns." Tianyu babbled. The Gremory house. When the man heard Tianyu mentioning Gremory's house, his expression became a little dreadful. A high-level demon from the Nobelius family. It is impossible not to know the Gremory house, which is also one of the 72 pillars. And the Gremorys don't have a single good stubble. What's more, the other party also claimed to be a pure-blooded superior demon. That's even more of an existence that he can't afford to offend. But there is something weirder. That is the hair color of the child in front of him. Gremory's hair color is mainly red. Why is the child in front of him orange-red? But just in case, best to confirm. If the other party is really from the Gremory family, then you must not touch him. Otherwise, the wrath of the Gremory family will be met. The Gremorys didn't have a single one of them. "What's your relationship with the Duke of Geoticus Gremory?" the man asked cautiously. "Duke Geoticus Gremory?" Tianyu was obviously stunned when he heard this. The name seemed somewhat familiar, but for a while, I couldn't remember who it was. "Little devil, you dare to play with me." At this time, the man also found out. The kid in front of him didn't even know who Duke Geoticus Gremory was. Obviously, the other party is completely pretending to be a fox. Who in the whole underworld doesn't know about the Duke of Geoticus Gremory? Obviously, this guy is not from the underworld at all. It's revealing, Tianyu said jokingly. But Tianyu was also a little curious. Who is Geodicus Gremory? I always feel like I've heard this name somewhere. Pretending to be from the Gremory family. Then I'll catch you and send it to Lord Sazex to take credit. The man stuck out his tongue and licked his lower lip. Sazex? Sazex Gremory. Suddenly Tianyu recalled. His right hand looked at his right hand, holding the sword. Is this guy in front of him from that world? You have to try it out? Thinking of this, Tianyu made up his mind. Want to arrest me? You have to see if you have the ability first. Boost to gear, Red Dragon Emperor's cage hand. On Tianyu's right hand, there was a red gauntlet that looked exactly like a dragon's claw. At the same time, there are two jewels emitting emerald green light inlaid on the back and top of the hand. The golden spikes extending from the sides make this gauntlet look majestic. It looks like a crimson dragon claw. It is one of the god-killing tools, Scarlet Dragon Emperor's cage hand, artifact. When the man saw Tianyu's right hand, dread appeared again in his expression. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. But even an artifact can't save you. The man sneered and said, Artifact? You're a superior demon. Haven't you heard of the god-extinguishing tool? Tianyu shook the Scarlet Dragon Emperor's cage hand and said, God Exterminator? Could it be? The man's pupils contracted violently. Your support. Chapter 46. The Watchdog's Hook, God Exterminator? Could it be? When the man who claimed to be the superior demon of the Nobelius family heard Tianyu mention the God Extermination tool, his pupils could not help shrinking violently. Looks like you still know, Tianyu said with a chuckle. If I'm not mistaken, your one should be one of the elite God Slayer tool, the Scarlet Dragon Emperor's cage hand. The man said in a low voice. Amazing. You actually know Qilong Emperor's cage hand. It seems that you are not from this world. Tianyu showed grinning thumbs up. Then his eyes became cold. He is in the world of Magic Girl Nanoha. The situation of Suzuka and Alyssa can be attributed to the setting of the Triangle Heart series. But some people know that there is something wrong with the existence of the God Destruction tool. Two completely unrelated worlds. How could anyone other than himself know about the God Slayer tool? Do you think you can hit me with a God Killer? The magic power on the man surged frantically. You underestimate me too much. Tianyu's voice sounded from behind the man. What? What a fast speed. The man was surprised. Didn't notice it at all. When did the little devil in front of him go around behind him? Xinyueliu's sword drawing technique. Magic dress. Baiwa Sakura Chaos. Tianyu's fluttering sentence. The black sword in his hand attacks in a zigzag orbit at high speed in an instant. The powerful attack hit the man instantly. What? The man screamed in an instant. Magic suit. Baiwa Cherry Blossoms is based on Baiwa Cherry Blossoms. With the help of an upgraded version of magic, it has extremely powerful power. Little devil, you are too careless. Suddenly, the corners of the man's mouth rose. The body turned into countless crows to avoid Tianyu's attack. FK, do you think you are Uchiha Itachi? Seeing this scene, Tianyu couldn't help but complained. This scene is very similar to Uchiha Itachi's ability. At the same time, the crows reincarnated as the man behind Tianyu. I see how many times you can use it. The black sword in Tianyu's hand emitted a lavender light. At the same time, turn around to attack. Xinyueliu sword drawing technique. Baiwa chasing. Magic dress. Gorgeous. Flower blows snow. With the black sword in his hand, he can swing it many times in an instant. The form sword ki attacked the man overwhelmingly like the air blade of Kama Itachi. The magic power in the man's hands also gathered. A purple magic circle was formed that Tianyu had never seen before. Watchdog's Hook. A purple energy column appeared in the purple magic circle in the man's hand. The purple energy column turned golden in the air, and the three-headed dog with lightning bolts charged towards Tianyu. Divine Dividing. The light wings of the White Dragon Emperor. When I saw this Cerberus, Tianyu quickly crossed his hands to resist. At the same time, just in case, White Dragon Emperor's light wings was activated to have the absorption. Forcibly defuse the man's attack. On the other side, Naiba, Suzuka, and Alyssa also moved from the inside greenhouse to drink tea outside. Speaking of which, the Suzuka house is truly a cat's paradise. Alyssa looked at the lazy cats around, said to Suzuka with a smile. Because these kittens are really cute. Suzuka replied with a smile. Yep, Naya also nodded in agreement. However, a few have already found their owners. They will say goodbye soon. Saying so, Suzuka's expression showed reluctance. Really, a little reluctant. In Nei's mind, he thought about what would happen if he and Tianyu parted ways. However, being able to watch them grow up, I'm still very happy. Suzuka picked up the teacup on the table and took a sip. Yes, Alyssa also agrees what these two like can be said to be opposites. Suzuka likes cats, Alyssa loves dogs. Both of them raised a lot at home. Suddenly, Nanoha felt two huge magical powers confronting each other. Little feather. Among them, there is a magic power that Nanoha is more familiar with. That is Tianyu's magic, because Tianyu would often use his magic power to help Nai, replenishing the devil. Transfer his multiplied magic power to Nanoha. So Nanoha is still more sensitive to Tianyu's magic. But another magic power is not clear. Can only feel strong. Nanoha hurriedly used magic to contact Yuno. I'm rushing over. I'll go over to see the situation first. Yuno sent a voice transmission to Nanoha. I'll be right over here. Nei said that he would come over immediately. Then Nanoha looked at Suzuka and Alyssa. Your support. Chapter 47. The Demon King of Otherworld? The seed of the Holy Stone activated. Nanoha glanced at Suzuka and Alyssa. That? Xiao Yu went to find Yuno-kun and still hasn't come back. Are the two of them lost? I'll leave first and look for them. Naya got up and made an excuse. I'll go too, Suzuka said while preparing to stand up. It's okay. I'll be back soon. You guys just wait here. Saying that, Nai hurriedly turned and left. On the other side, Tianyu took back the black sword in his hand. Looking at the man who fell to the ground, unable to move, Yunyu raised the middle finger of her right hand. Why? Why do you also watch the dog's hook? The man gritted his teeth and looked at Tianyu. Is it difficult? Isn't this kind of thing something you can learn just by watching it once? Tianyu replied with a chuckle. At this time, the man also became silent. Just now, the opponent used the same skill to defeat him. To know, Guard Dog's Claw, is a secret skill of the Nibirius family. But this little devil in front of him, it can be used perfectly after just watching it once. The most important is, proficiency is more convenient than oneself. Killed himself with the same skill. The strength of this little devil in front of him is simply terrifying and outrageous. You guys who are hiding in the dark to watch the show, shouldn't it be time for you to come out too? Tianyu ignored the man on the ground. Instead, he turned his eyes to the side. Ha ha ha, the little guy is very powerful. A young man with red waist-length hair came out of the woods. Appears to be about 20 years old, wearing dark golden imperial armor. He smiled and looked at Tianyu in front of him. How is it possible? Says Lord Zeeks. When the man saw the young man, the whole person showed an unbelievable expression. Behind her stood a maid in a maid outfit. One Isan with long silver hair and a braid. Standing quietly beside the young man named Seizex. There was an invisible strong aura emanating from him. Of course, Tianyu's attention fell behind the silver-haired One Isan. Behind that One Isan, there is one who also has long red hair. There are a pair of slender willow eyebrows on the fleshy little face. A pair of green eyes under his eyebrows. Hiding behind the silver-haired One Isan, he looked timidly at Tianyu in front of him. From the perspective of the five senses, completely a beauty embryo. When she grows up, she will definitely be a beauty of the alluring level. Rias Gremory. Tianyu looked at the girl and said speechlessly, You will know me. The girl named Rias was still hiding behind the silver-haired One Isan. Little brother, can we take that guy away? Then there was another one with long black hair. With two ponytails, a girl in a pink short skirt came out. He also held a wand in his hand. There is also a yellow star in the center of the wand. She looks like a magical girl. Rias Gremory, the red-haired demon Lord Seizex Gremory, the silver-haired queen of annihilation Greffia Lucifergus, the demon Lord Leviathan, who likes magical girls Seraphel Cedi. Look at the people in front of you. Tianyu read out their names one by one. Oh, you know us. Graphia, who was standing behind Seizex, frowned. Don't look at Graphia in a maid outfit, but even Seizex was a little afraid of her. In the original, Gurefia Lucifergus is a member of the Luciferian family, a famous family in the Extra-Order Demon family. The Lucifer's family has served the old demon Lord Lucifer for generations. The power is known to all, and when the demons of the underworld were reforming, he fought against the reformists as a member of the old Demon Lord faction. Later, he fell in love with Seizex Gremory, who was known as a reformist hero on the battlefield. After numerous tests, Grifia and Seizex stepped into the auditorium. The love story of two people has almost become a legend in the underworld. Of course, I've heard of it. But why are you here? Tianyu asked in a deep voice. Certainly for the two kittens behind you, Seizex said with a smile. 2 cats? It's just 2 ordinary cats. Are there no cats in the huge underworld? Tianyu looked at the 2 kittens behind him. The 2 cats hid behind Tianyu and shivered. Suddenly Tianyu felt the activation of the sacred stone seed. Damn, not starting early, not starting late. It happens at this time. Tianyu's face also became a little ugly. Your support. Chapter 48. The concubine's appearance, strange black mud one from the woods, is dominated by black. A tiger with a strange white pattern on its body walked out slowly. When I saw the pair of white fangs protruding from both sides of the tiger, Tianyu held the black pendant hanging from his neck. Meet again. The tiger's blood-red eyes stared at Tianyu in front of him. How can I see you there, see this tiger? Tianyu recognized it immediately. Isn't that the one that escaped the first 2 weeks? You more a few. Helpers no? Over to escape no? Drop. Blood-red eyes swept across the 4 people behind Tianyu. The voice just fell. The black tiger pounced on Tianyu, just when Tianyu was about to shoot. As for Seizex and others, they have no intention of making any move. Suddenly a girl with long blonde hair and a black dress appeared in front of her. He stretched out his left hand and summoned a golden magic circle to resist. Thunderlight Tomahawk. The girl called out softly. Get set, ready. A low male voice came from the position of the girl's left hand. I saw the girl holding a triangular golden handicraft in her right hand. The sound just now was from that thing. Pampered concubine? Tianyu saw the girl for the first time. I recognized the girl's identity. Isn't it the favorite concubine Feit Testroza? You don't need to guess what is in your hand. Feit's magic tool, lightning battle axe at this time. The lightning battle axe emitted a golden light, vaguely turned into a battle axe. Feit swung hard at the tiger in front of him. The powerful energy wave hit the tiger instantly. Barrier jacket say, suit start. With a serious expression, Feit looked at Tianyu and the others behind him with burgundy eyes. Then he turned his gaze to the tiger in front of him. He raised the lightning battle axe in his hand high. Axe form. The lightning tomahawk also automatically transformed into a tomahawk form. It was a tomahawk with black as the main tone. There is a yellow orb in the center. Feit's clothes have also undergone an earth-shaking transformation. Feit was wearing a black dress. And now, he was wearing a black cloak, and he wore a pair of black gloves. On the back of the hands, there are 2 golden triangles similar to the standby state of lightning battle axe. The long blonde hair is also tied into a double ponytail with black ribbon. It's dangerous here. Get out of here quickly. Feit looked at the few people behind him and said something. He clenched the Thunderlight battle axe in his hand, instantly rushed to the black tiger. Wow, it's a magical girl. Seraph, who likes the Magic Girl series, has her eyes glowing. He stared at Feit. Seraph LCD is a very cheerful demon king who is mainly responsible for diplomatic affairs in the underworld. The magic that is mainly good at is ice magic. Usually, she likes to dress up as a magical girl. In the original, Seraph also has her own show, Miracle Livia Carbon, starring Seraph herself. And I really want to participate in the live-action performance of the human world animation Magic Girl Milky. By the way, the so-called Miracle Livia Carbon is actually because Seraph is the demon king Leviathan in the underworld, so he changed his name to Livia Carbon in the show. In addition to that, Seraph is also an out-and-out sister controller. On the Seizex Gremory next to her is also an ultimate sister-in-law. Seraph can be said to be very doting on his sister Kana. How indulgent is it? For the sake of her younger sister, Sona Seraph. She can even wage war against fallen angel and heavenly realm. To this, Song Na usually doesn't contact her sister, for fear that this sister of hers would start a war against fallen angel and heavenly realm when she was unhappy, and then she would become the culprit behind the war. Fei Te fighting is much more skilled than Nanoha fighting. But in the face of this tiger, there is more than enough power. The tiger stretched out its wings from behind, soaring in the air, slapped Fate, and flew out. Roar! The tiger roared up to the sky. At this time, Tianyu seemed to have thought of something and quickly opened the system panel. Name? Black Mud. Gender? None. Age? Unknown. Abilities: physical neutralization, symbiosis, absolute evil combat power. 220W overall evaluation. S grade. Looking at the attribute panel of the black mud in front of him, Tianyu was stunned. There are so many things you can't see. Your support. Chapter 49. Deal with the devil. Judging from the data that can be seen so far, in terms of strength, it has already surpassed Nai in fight, but it is slightly inferior to Tianyu's combat power. In the last half month, Tianyu also got a lot of good things from the system check-in. The combat power has also increased substantially, from the initial 200W combat power to the current 221W battle. In just 1 week, the combat power has increased by about 21W. It can be said that it has improved very quickly, but compared to the tiger turned from black mud in front of him, the combat power is only about 1W higher. Although combat power does not represent everything, but it can represent strength. The current Tianyu is even taller than this tiger. Of course, the combat power of this 221W is not Tianyu's full strength. If it is in full strength, it will be much stronger than the current combat power. The combat power of 221W in Dragon Ball Z is nothing. Much weaker than Frieza in his heyday. But don't forget, this is not the world of Dragon Ball Z, but the world of Magic Girl Nanoha. This is Magic Girl Nanoha. Number 97 manages the outer world. The local name is Earth. Watching in the distance, Fei Te and the tiger fell to the wind. Tianyu bit his lower lip. Hey, Sazek's Lucifer. No, it should be Sazek's Gremory. Tianyu turned his gaze to Sazek's behind him. Hear Tianyu calling himself. Sazek's also squinted and looked at Tianyu. How about a deal? Tianyu said in a deep voice. Deal? What do you think you can do with me? Sazek said with a smile. What do you think? Tianyu just looked at Sazek blankly. All the people present were smart people. Some words don't even need to be said to understand their meaning. Interesting. Are you ready to make a deal with the devil? The corners of Sazek's mouth rose. Don't think I don't know what's on your mind. Tianyu said expressionlessly. Huh? You seem to be only a 4 or 5-year-old child. Yet you have such a mature mind. I really have to admire you. Sazek raised his head and laughed. Tell me, what do you want to do with me? Sazek looked at Tianyu. What do you say? Tianyu's eyes fell on the 2 kittens behind him. You are really strange. Sazek shook his head and said. Then what price can you pay? Sazek's eyes became sharp in an instant. What do you want? Tianyu didn't answer. Instead, he asked Sazek. This kind of thing, I never thought about it. Sazek also rubbed his chin in thought. Suddenly, Sazek's gaze turned to Rias, who was behind Griefia. You seem to know the devil very well. Why don't you? Sazek's words speak for themselves. You are not the devil of this world. Suddenly Tianyu asked. You really are very strange. Sazek just looked at Tianyu in front of him with interest. How did it get here? Tianyu asked his own curious question. I don't know. When chasing these 2 cats, they came out of the vortex of space in the sky. About this, Sazek shrugged and answered. After all, even Sazek doesn't know chasing these 2 kittens? Tianyu looked strangely at the 2 kittens behind him. Okay, the deal. The premise is that I go to your world in the future. Tianyu was silent for a moment and said, You don't even ask me what I am? Sazek asked with a smile. What conditions can your sister-in-law propose? Tianyu pouted and said disdainfully. With that brain of Sazek's, there are only a few suggestions that can be made. Even less has to do with Rias Gremory. The answer is even more self-evident. But I have to see your strength. Sazek was smiling though. but it looks like a sly old fox. Name: Sazek's Gremory, Sazek's Lucifer, the red-haired Demon Lord SX. Male race: Demon combat power. 500W magical ability. Destruction overall evaluation. SSS level, superior. From the world. High School DxD current world. Magic Girl Nanoha from the current value of Sazek's. Sazek's combat power has far surpassed himself. The combat power actually reached a full 500W combat power. In terms of comprehensive evaluation, it has reached the existence of SSS level chapter 50. Gentle fit, there was one thing that Tianyu didn't think of at all. Sazek's combat power is as high as 500W. But the evaluation is only SSS level. What is the evaluation of this system based on? Various questions flooded Tianyu's mind. Want to see my strength? Tianyu turned his gaze to the tiger beside him. The current combat power of feet is only about 143W. Compared to the tiger in front of him, a full difference of about 77W of combat power. Completely lost. Fei, who was attacked by a tiger and fell to the ground, struggled to resist with the lightning battle axe in his hand. Then, "These two cats, please." Tianyu glanced at the two shivering kittens behind him and said softly, "Oh." Sazek's nodded slightly. I saw Tianyu casually throwing aside the jacket he was wearing outside, revealing the black short sleeves he was wearing inside. Bend your body slightly. His eyes were fixed on the tiger not far away. Boom! Accompanied by a loud explosion. Tianyu rushed towards the tiger like an arrow from the string. The ground where he was standing was already covered with dense, spider web-like cracks. The ground around the punch sank abruptly. It is conceivable to see how much power Tianyu burst out at that moment. Leave far away. Tianyu blasted the tiger with a punch. But in fact, the punch didn't cause much damage to the monster. The strength of the whole body is basically in the fist and the kung fu. Attacks like magic became Tianyu's weakness. The most disgusting thing is, the enemy it faces still has the existence of physical attack nullification. It's all about restraining yourself. But this punch drives the air into a powerful air cannon. It's okay. Tianyu smiled and extended a small hand to fight. I am fine. Fate didn't even think about it. This child who has just been rescued by himself has such a powerful strength. Just one punch knocked the monster out. It's cold on the ground, you better get up quickly, Tianyu said with a smile. Fei Te also reached out and held Tianyu's little hand. Tianyu took advantage of the situation to pull Fei up from the ground. Roar! Suddenly the tiger made an even more deafening noise. Get out of here quickly. It's dangerous here. Tianyu turned his gaze back to the distance. But what else did Fei want to say? You should have other things to do. Tianyu is still smiling. Hearing this, Fei became vigilant again. Don't be so vigilant. Tianyu touched his nose in embarrassment. How did you know? Fei asked cautiously. Please. This is the backyard of the Uetsuin family. It belongs to the private area. You don't look like a maid because of your age. You must have come in because of something. Tianyu pretended to be calm and made an excuse. I see. Fei nodded dumbly. If that's the case, it's over. As for the tiger, he looked at Tianyu in front of him very cautiously. Much stronger than the last time we met. But there is no ignorant going up to disturb Tianyu. After all, his task is to support the little boy in front of him. Let the other two people have the opportunity to deal with the little girl, so as to successfully collect the holy stone seed. Come on, Tianyu said. What about you? Fei asked worriedly. It can't help me, Tianyu said confidently. The tiger in front of him completely relies on physical attack invalidation and super recovery ability, and the two abilities aimed at Tianyu can escape from Tianyu again and again. It can be said that this black mud is a replica of Majin Bu. Even if the body is penetrated or deformed, it can be restored to its original state in an instant. Powerful regeneration ability. Even if there is only a little black mud, it can quickly recover to a complete body. Can only be completely destroyed by extremely powerful attacks. Or hit its recovery ability can't keep up with the damage. For a while, Fei didn't know what to do. Suddenly, a voice transmission from the familiar elf came from Fei's heart. Fei, the sacred stone seed is activated. Come here quickly. Elf's anxious voice sounded in Fit's heart. I know. Fate closed his eyes and replied. Then he opened his eyes and looked at him with a complicated expression. Tianyu said, You wait for me to come back. After speaking, Fei used magic to fly away from the place. What are you doing when you come back? He smiled and shook his head as he watched Fate leave. He turned his gaze back to the tiger in front of him. Then I should be serious. Tianyu moved his body. Chapter 51. Big Cat. The first encounter between a tyrant and a favored concubine. Let's go back in time a little bit. Go back to when Seed of Holy Stone was just activated. Nanoha and Yuno, who were constantly searching for Tianyu in the woods, stopped one after another. Suddenly, Nanoha felt the activation of the Holy Stone Seed. How come it's activated? Naya said in surprise. It's too conspicuous here. You have to design a barrier. Yuno turned his head and said to Nanoha, who was behind him, Enchantment. Naya expressed a look of bewilderment. I don't even know what that barrier is. It's the space where we first met, using magic to create a completely different magic space, changing the passage of time within the magic space and the usual space. Yuno explained the barrier to Nanoha. How to use that? Naya asked curiously. This is the magic I'm good at. After speaking, Yuno closed his eyes and activated the magic power in his body. Although Yuno's form was forcibly fixed in the form of a ferret by Tianyu's magic power, it was still possible to activate the magic in his body to activate magic and the like. A pale green magic circle appeared in front of Yuno and Nanoha. Immediately afterwards, a magic power spread around. Yuno just formed the barrier not long ago. A dazzling pale blue light emanated from a distance not far away. A familiar huge figure appeared not far away. Those azure blue eyes the size of a small car looked at Nanoha and Yuno. Meow. A cat meow sounded. Ah. Nei stared at the voice in the distance in astonishment. Yuno was also shocked. I don't know what to say to myself, because that huge figure was at Suzuka's house, chasing Yuno's cat little AI. Meow Xiao AI shouted and walked slowly towards the front. That is... Nai didn't know what to say for a while. He could only stare blankly at the huge figure that had gone away. Big probably, that kitten's wish to grow up was accurately fulfilled by the sacred stone seed. Yuno also answered somewhat uncertainly. Yes, is it? Naruto shook his head in embarrassment. However, it will be very dangerous to go on like this, and it must be restored to its original state as soon as possible. Yuno looked at Nanoha next to him. Yes. Suzuka will be embarrassed even if she grows so big. Naya nodded and said with certainty, Meow. The cat looked around curiously. Enjoy the scenery completely different from the usual. It doesn't seem to have any hostility. It's sealed as soon as possible. Saying that, Nanoha took out the Heart of the Rising Sun from her neck, put the Heart of the Rising Sun in the palm, and shouted with the palm facing up, Heart of the Rising Sun. Suddenly, a golden light beam flew over from a distance. Accurately hit the huge little love. Naruto turned his head in confusion. In the distance, he saw a golden double ponytail tied with a black ribbon. A girl in a black cloak. A pair of wine-red eyes looked a little anxious. This is Fight, who came to seal the Holy Stone Seed. Originally, Fei wanted to give up the Seed of Holy Stone, to help Tianyu fight off that black monster. But with its current strength, totally drag-and-drop behavior, plus the urging of the familiar elf. And I don't want to disappoint my mother. In the end, Fight decided to quickly seal the Sacred Stone Seed, and then followed Elf to help Tianyu. Thunderlight Battle Axe, Photon Spirit Gun combo. Fit raised the Thunderlight Battle Axe in his hand and said expressionlessly, Photon Lancer Filato Fire, Photon Lancer FA. After hearing Fight's order, the Thunderlight Battle Axe continued to attack the huge Xiao AI. Magic light? How could it be? Yuno looked incredible. Heart of the Rising Sun. Please. See the girl in the distance. Nanoha also activated the Heart of the Rising Sun in his hand. Stand by, ready, set, UP. Ready, start. The Heart of the Rising Sun also started quickly. The transformed Nanoha quickly ran toward Xiao AI. Flyer Fin Nanoha, who activated the flying magic, quickly rushed toward Xiao AI. At this time, Fate's attack also struck again. Nai, who fell on Xiao Ai, quickly raised the heart of the rising sun in his hand to defend. Wide area protection, wide area defense. Nanoha watched the incoming magic bullet cautiously, using wide area defense to resist Nanoha's attack. Chapter 52. Nanoha in a daze, the automatic battle of the magic tool. Wide area protection, wide area defense. Nanoha watched the incoming magic bullet cautiously, using wide area defense to resist Nanoha's attack. Magister? Fate was stunned for a moment. Then he aimed at the position of Xiao Ai's front paws. Another series of attacks. Although the first few attacks were blocked by Nanoha's wide area defense. But with Nanoha's current strength, wide area defense simply can't cover too much. Xiao Ai's front paws are a good example. Meow. Xiao Ai, who was continuously attacked by Fight, accidentally made a mistake. Fall to the side. Oops. Nai, who was on Xiao Ai's back, also hurriedly flew down from Xiao Ai's back. Heart of the rising sun, in the form of a wand clenched tightly in his hand, carefully looked at Fate, who was standing in the distance, expressionless. Yuno also took the opportunity to drill into the nearby woods, looked at Nanoha and then at Fate in the distance. I'm surprised that these are no longer there. Maybe I have nothing left to give to Nanoha, even though Yuno was already mentally prepared. But after seeing Nanoha's performance today, just found out, in just half a month, Nanoha was able to grow to such an extent. Suddenly, Naoya saw Fetty jumping slightly in his direction. It landed on the branch of a big tree in front of him. The same kind of mages. Are you also a searcher of the ancient heritage? Fate looked at Nanoha with a hostile look. You can't be wrong. She is also from my world. Besides, this girl, she actually knows the essence of the sacred stone seed. Yuno looked at Fett, who was standing on the branch with an incredible look. Could it be? At this moment, Yuno suddenly recalled. On the night of the first meeting, Tianyu once asked himself, speaking of which, haven't you suspected that the malfunction of your dimensional ship was man-made? At that time, Yuno asked Tianyu what he meant. Then Tianyu replied, it's just that I suspect that the dimensional ship you arranged has encountered a malfunction. It may not be an accident. It was deliberately done by someone secretly. At that time, Yuno suspected that another Magus would appear. But it's been pretty quiet for a while now. Did not expect. Actually, today, I really saw another magician. The same intelligent magic tool as Lightning Battle Axe. Fit's gaze fell on the heart of the rising sun, in the form of a wand in Nanoha's hand. Lightning Battle Axe. The somewhat confused Nanoha's gaze turned to Fate's hands. In Fate's hand, he held a pitch-black battle axe with a golden bead inlaid on it. Presumably, that was the Thunderlight battle axe that the girl in front of him spoke of. Immortal heritage, the seed of the holy stone, Fit said to himself. Psi form set UP, light sickle form start. Lightning battle axe has also been transformed from a battle axe form to a light sickle form. Holding the lightning battle axe in the form of a light sickle in both hands. I'm sorry, but I'm going to take it away. And he's still in danger. Fit held the lightning battle axe in his hand and rushed towards Nanoha. What? Nay exclaimed. Evasion flyer fin, evasion, flying wings. The heart of the rising sun noticed that Nanoha was not moving. Start to automatically determine the implementation of the solution. Flying into the air with Nanoha to avoid Fate's attack. Did you escape? Fit raised his head and looked blankly at Nanoha in the air. Arc Saber, Fit turned the lightning war axe slightly backwards in his hand. Then he vigorously swung towards Nanoha in the sky. A golden semicircular energy light blade also flew towards Nanoha in the air. Protection. The heart of the rising sun still did not move when it saw Nanoha. So it started again on its own. What? At this time, Nai, who was so cute, came back to his senses. The flying arc blade hit Nanoha with precision. Nana? Yuno, who was below, couldn't help but exclaimed. Days in battle. Fit held the lightning war axe in his hand and charged towards Nanoha in the air again. Moving towards Nanoha, the lightning battle axe in the form of a light sickle in his hand slashed with force. Nanoha, who had reacted, also quickly resisted with the heart of the rising sun in her hands. Why? Why do you do this? Nei asked while looking at Fate, who was expressionless in front of him. Even if I answer you, I'm afraid it doesn't make any sense. Fate replied with a blank expression. Boom! The two distanced themselves again. Fate landed on the branch again. Nei returned to Xiao Ai's side again. Chapter 53. Late Tianyu, it can be said that the battle between Nanoha and Fei just now was completely autonomous battle with the magic tool in their hands, and Nanoha and Fei were only responsible for providing magic power to the magic tool. Devised form, at this time, the Thunderlight Battle Axe in Fei's hand also exited the light sickle form and returned to the wand form. Shooting mode, the Heart of the Rising Sun, in Nanoha's hand is automatically transformed into shooting mode Divine Buster Standby. Nanoha aimed the Heart of the Rising Sun in his hand at Fei. Photon Lancer gets set. Photon Lancer gets set. Ready. Fei also aimed the Heart of the Rising Sun in his hand at Nanoha. She must be about the same age as me. Beautiful burgundy eyes and beautiful long blonde hair. But this girl, Naya bit her lower lip and thought to herself. Turned out to be during the battle, just now. Nanoha was distracted because she was thinking, this girl in front of me is so beautiful. Meow. At this time, Xiao Ai, who fell to the ground, also got up. Naya looked over subconsciously, and Fei seized the gap. I am sorry, Fei bit his lower lip and said with some guilt. Fire, fire. The lightning tomahawk has also completed charging. A thick golden light was emitted towards Nanoha. Suddenly, the golden light engulfed Nanoha. Nanoha also drew a graceful arc in the air and fell straight towards the ground. Nana? Yuno exclaimed and rushed towards Nanoha. But there was a figure faster than Yuno. He held the fallen Nanoha in his arms. I saw Tianyu kneeling on his knees. His knees rubbed 2 marks on the ground. Little feather. Yuno didn't expect that the person who came was actually Tianyu. You're fine, Yuno asked quickly. I'm fine. Tianyu shook his head and stood up holding Nanoha. Just now, because of the rush. Tianyu rushed over without any protection. Just when Nanoha was about to land, she caught Nanoha precisely. Correct when Yuno was about to say something. I heard Tianyu say, I know it all. Let her take it away. After Fei on the other side finished attacking, he flew straight to Xiao Ai's side. Gao raised the lightning battle axe in his hand and aimed it at Xiao Ai. Sealing form set UP. Sealing form start. Lightning battle axe was also transformed into a sealed form. Meow. A powerful thunderbolt hit Xiao Ai precisely. Electric's little love meows. However, there is also a sacred stone seed on Xiao Ai's body. Ord, please indicate. The Thunderlight Battle Axe sounded. Prime Legacy Seed of Holy Stone, NO.14, Seal. Fei gave the order. Yes, sir, understand. Fei raised the lightning war axe in his hand again. A golden light pierced the sky. It turned into countless golden rays of light and fell from the sky to Xiao Ai. Sealing seal. The golden light completely enveloped Xiao Ai. Soon Xiao Ai's body returned to its original size, and an azure gem was suspended in midair on Xiao Ai's body. Fei stepped forward. I touched the sacred stone seed with the lightning battle axe in my hand. Successfully captured the holy stone seed. Then he turned his eyes to the side. When he saw Tianyu holding Nanoha, his expression was a little stunned. Are you all right? Fei Te asked after looking at Tianyu and then at the unconscious Nei in Tianyu's arms. It's okay. It has been successfully resolved, Tianyu said with a smile. Then Fei turned his attention to Nanoha. It's okay. It won't take long for you to wake up. Tianyu said it was fine. You can treat it with a horse charm later. Thanks. After hesitating for a while, Fei said to Tianyu. Thank me for what? Tianyu was a little puzzled. Thank you for saving her. Fei's eyes fell on Naiha again. In Fei's view, Tianyu should have come across it by accident when he came to check the situation, so he saved the girl. Just like Tianyu rescued those 2 cats before. You'd better get out of here quickly. With such a big commotion, someone should come in a while. Tianyu shook his head and said to Fei with a smile. Then I'll go first. Then Fei flew into the air and quickly left here. Chapter 54. The depressed Nanoha. Do you know that girl? After Fei left, Yuno turned his attention to Tianyu. Do not know. Tianyu shook his head and said he didn't know him at all. That Yuno hesitated. It's just that I encountered some troubles just now, and the girl just happened to help me. Tianyu thought for a while, decided to hide what happened to Seizex and others. So, it is. Looked like that. Both Nanoha and could feel the two magic power fluctuations that happened not long ago. And there was an explosion. Obviously, the trouble Tianyu encountered this time was not small. So there is such a big movement. Meow. Suddenly, two cats, black and white, emerged from the woods. Cat, so frightened. Hurriedly climbed onto Tianyu's shoulder. It's just two cats. Why do you need to make such a fuss? Tianyu was speechless when he looked at who was trembling on his shoulders. Meow. The two cats were too lazy to pay attention to just constantly at Tianyu's feet, constantly rubbing against Tianyu's trousers. Let's go. Nai woke up in a while. Tianyu hugged Nanoha and walked towards the Suzuka family's house in the distance. At the same time, the magic power of the horse charm that was constantly in the body was transported into Nanoha's body. Horse charm is able to eliminate all abnormal external forces in the body, so as to achieve the miraculous effect of curing all diseases. Other than that, the harmful anomalous effects return to their normal state. Expel all bad external forces from the body. Remove all interference and recover. The most important thing is to be able to get rid of all pain and all injuries, so there is nothing wrong with using it to treat Niba. In fact, in Tianyu's heart, been thinking about it all the time. Is it really a good thing to do it yourself? I want to give Nanoha more training. Hope Nanoha grows faster. But seeing Nanoha getting hurt makes me feel a kind of heartache again. After all, Nanoha couldn't live under her own protection forever. When Fei Te attacked Nanoha with the arc light flying blade, Tianyu already felt close. I just want to give Nanoha some training. So I have been using the magic of the snake charm to hide and watch the situation. The snake charm's ability is invisibility. It can completely hide the user's figure so that others cannot see it. Wait until Nanoha is shot down by fight. Just showed up in a hurry. Using her tyrannical physical ability, she hugged Nanoha. Why not use anything else? That's to prevent Fei Te from seeing the flaw. But apparently it's going well so far. It's nothing more than getting one less sacred stone seed. You can get it back when you have a chance. Sequence 14, the seed of the holy stone. Tianyu opened the system and looked at the current task panel. As expected, because the sacred stone seed was directly taken away by the fight seal. So there is no plan in the task panel. From this it can be seen that only after Tianyu touches the sacred stone seed, with his own hands can he complete the task. If not touched, there will be no changes in the task, the seed of 21 holy stones. We must speed up the progress. Tianyu couldn't help sighing in his heart. Suddenly, Nai Huanhuan opened his eyes in his arms. You're awake. Tianyu quickly put Nanoha in his arms on the ground. Noye, are you awake? Also hurriedly stepped forward and asked worriedly. Little Xiao Yu, are you okay? Nai asked worriedly after seeing Xiao Yu. I'm fine. Tianyu said that he had nothing to do. Right? Where's that girl? Nai suddenly thought of something. He quickly sat up from the ground. His eyes kept looking around. God, Tianyu replied. Let's go. Then, what about the seed of the holy stone? Naruto asked anxiously. It was taken away by the other party. Yuno's tone became a little low. What? Nei looked at Tianyu with some uncertainty. After seeing Tianyu nodded, Nai understood. Yuno didn't lie to himself, and Naiba's mood also began to become a little low. Take it away and take it away. Anyway, there is still a chance to get it back in the future. Tianyu saw that Nani's mood was a little down, so he quickly opened his mouth to comfort him. Is there any chance in the future? Naiha lowered her head, wondering what she was thinking. Don't think too much. Clean up your mood. Suzuka and the others are still waiting for us. They will be worried if you look like this. Tianyu didn't know how to comfort Nanoha for a while. All I can do is let Nei clean up his mood. Don't be caught by Suzuka, Alyssa, and the others. Chapter 55. The two sisters and brothers in discord in the recent period of time. The atmosphere of the Takamachi family has become a little weird. Since returning from the Tsukamura house last week, Nai and Tianyu were two brothers and sisters who were very close. Recently, The relationship has become inexplicably stiff. Neither of the two wanted to care about the other. Not even a word was said. After Naiba returned from school every afternoon, she locked herself in her room. He didn't come out of the room until dinner time. As for Tianyu, in the past week, it has become a dragon without seeing the end. Go to the gym early every morning. I stayed in the gym for a whole day and didn't want to come out. Sometimes Tianyu could not be seen for a whole day. When it was time to eat dinner, he might not be able to see the trace of Tianyu. By the way, since the last time I came back from the Tsukamura house, Tianyu also brought the two kittens of different colors home, by the way. Momoko and Shiro have no problem with Tianyu keeping pets. After all, there's already a precedent, so I don't care about two more pets. And the two kittens are also very obedient. But there is still a requirement. That is, Tianyu must be in charge of taking care of these two kittens. Tianyu said it doesn't matter. The wicked Tianyu named the two cats. Black is called Taching Blacksong, the white one is called Taching Baiyin. However, Tianyu and Nani are the two people who have caused Takamachi his headache recently. To this end, Momoko and Shiro made up their minds. Take advantage of the recent vacation days. Takamachi went to a nearby hot spring hotel for a long time and started a 2-day and 2-night outing. I want to take this opportunity to resolve the gap between Nai Yi and Tianyu. Although the whole country has ushered in a long-lost consecutive holiday recently. However, Tsu Cafe is a business model that is open all year round. But in previous years when there were consecutive holidays, occasionally, the work is handed over to the clerk to take care of. The whole family will take this opportunity to travel together. Originally, the Takamachi had no plans to go on a trip this time. However, Tianyu and Nei have had some troubles recently, so I decided to go on a trip to a nearby hot spring hotel this time. Take time to take a bath in a nearby hot spring hotel during the consecutive breaks, and take a good look at your body. This is the traditional way of traveling in Takamachi. In order to better resolve the awkwardness between the two this time, Suzuka and Alyssa were specially called to help. Of course, rare opportunity. Gon also called Tsukamura Shinobu to travel with him. In addition to this, two maids from the Tsukamura family also came. Takamachi's car is a 7-seat utility SUV. His father, Shiro Takamachi, is in charge of driving. Mother Takamachi Momoko is sitting in the passenger seat. In the middle are Takamachi Miyuki and Takamachi Tianyu. Originally, Momoko and Shiro wanted Tianyu and Nanoha to sit together, but neither of them wanted to. So Miyuki and Tianyu sat together, sitting in the last row. It is Nanoha, Suzuka, and Alyssa. As for Takamachi Kyouya, he was in a car with Tsukamura Shinobi and two other maids. In the car, Tianyu looked out the window with his left hand on his cheek. From time to time, he glanced at Nanoha, who was sitting behind him. Nanoha, on the other hand, stared out the car window tensely. I was afraid that there would suddenly be a holy stone seed activated around me. Then he carefully looked at Tianyu, who was sitting in front of him. Nanoha, since it's a travel day, let's relax. Yuno glanced at Nani and said quickly through voice transmission, I understand, no problem, Naiba said with a smile. However, the girl who met at Suzuka's house last week resounded in Nanoha's heart. I met last week, the black-clothed magister. Since that day, I haven't been able to find the sacred stone seed for another week, and the relationship with Xiao Yu seems to be. Nai bit his lower lip and carefully looked at Tianyu. Seeing that Tianyu has been looking out the window, I couldn't help but let out a breath. Otherwise, ask Xiao Yu to apologize? No. If he doesn't apologize, I'll ignore him. The thought of apology suddenly popped up in Naya's mind. After that, Naiba left him behind. He puffed out his cheeks and thought angrily. Actually, the problem between two people is not too big if it is too big, and not too small if it is too small. The reason why Naiha is angry, in fact, it was because he felt that Tianyu had been hiding something. The sound of the explosion, already that huge magic fluctuation, Tianyu always found a reason for all this vaguely. Want to fool the past with this. But Nanoha felt that Tianyu was lying to herself. Then the two quarreled over this matter. The result is the current situation. Your support. Chapter 56, A Trip to the Hot Springs. Meeting Elle for the first time, Tianyu, who came to the hot spring hotel, ran to help with packing. Nanoha went alone into the nearby woods. Well, anyway, in the next 2 days, don't think about this sacred stone seed. Just like an ordinary child, have a good time for 2 days. Naya stretched lazily and muttered to herself. The other side, in a Japanese-style room with tatami on the floor, Tianyu lifted the back of Yuno's neck and stared at Yuno in his hands. If you dare to peek inside the women's bathroom, I promise, you will never survive tonight. Saying that, a fiery flame burned in Tianyu's right hand. Yuno saw the flame in Tianyu's hand. The whole person froze instantly. No. Hey, Gabain, the two of you bring this ferret back to the room. If it dares to leave the room for half a step, come over and tell me that I have killed this ferret. Tianyu lowered his head and said to the two cats at his feet, Meow. The two cats raised their heads and meowed twice. It means I know, although these two cats don't speak human words like you know. But he possesses great wisdom. It's not that much compared to people. Xiao Yu, do you want to take a bath in the hot spring together? At this time, Gong also opened the door and walked in and asked, Forget it. I'll go around. Tianyu thought about it and decided not to go. Really? That's a pity. Gong also said with a smile, I'd better go around first. Tianyu replied, Then I'll go first. After saying that, Gongye closed the door and left the room. Let's go. Sable. Tianyu glanced at Yuno and said, The two kittens, Black Song and White Sound, have no interest in Yuno. Just quietly followed behind Tianyu. In the forest not far from the hotel. This kind of holiday is really very good. Peach came to a pond. Looking at the clear spring water in the pond, I sighed with emotion. Oh yes. Shiro nodded in agreement. The store can finally be assured of handing over to those young shop assistants. Peach is stretched. The kids are also very energetic. Shiro nodded in agreement and replied, And, husband, you are the same. After a moment of silence, Momoko looked at Shiro next to her and said with a smile, Oh yes. Shiro's gaze also turned to Momo next to him. Peaches also smiled happily. It's really not easy to get to where you are today. Shiro couldn't help but sighed. Peaches responded softly. I won't let Peaches and the children worry anymore. I will always be the boss of Tsuwu from now on. Shiro looked at the water in the pond in front of him and said softly, Thank you, husband. Momoko also moved to Shiro's side twice, leaning on Shiro's shoulder. And Shiro also took advantage of the situation and stretched out his hand to hug Momoko in his arms. It was really thanks to him at that time. Shiro looked up at the blue sky and muttered to himself. Peaches just responded softly. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid there would be no me. Shiro's thoughts suddenly returned to a long time ago. Don't think about that anymore. Peaches said quickly. Shiro nodded. However, what happened to Xiaoba and Nanoha recently? Peaches became a little worried. It's okay. The two children will be reconciled as before. Shiro replied with a smile. Speaking of which, it will be Xiao Yu's birthday soon. 5 years have passed before you know it. Peaches said softly. Xiao Yu is almost 5 years old, and it feels like time flies by so fast. Shiro answered while holding the peach. Momoko snuggled into Shiro's arms. The two people's thoughts gradually returned to the past. Tianyu, who was wandering around bored in the hotel, also stopped, looking at a young woman in a bathrobe in the distance. The woman has long, orange-red hair, and there is a ruby-like thing on the forehead. Alf. Tianyu immediately recognized the identity of the other party. That's right. It is the human form of Fet's familiar, Elf. Elf has two different forms, the wolf form and the human form. Something similar to Tianyu is, Elf is good at attacking with taijutsu, that is to use your own fists. In addition, Elf is also good at auxiliary magic such as defense magic and binding magic. The corners of Elf's mouth were raised. Look at the three girls and Yukata walking towards them. These three girls are the three Naiha, Suzuka, and Alyssa who have finished soaking in the hot springs. His eyes fell on Naiha, who was on the side. Your support. Chapter 57. Elf's Provocation A. Little girls. Elf greeted Nanoha and the others. After taking a look at Suzuka and Alyssa, focus on Naiha. The person who bullied my children. Is that you? Elf walked in front of Nanoha. Bending down, he stared at Nanoha from a close distance and said, yeah. Naya couldn't help but took 2 steps back. I don't know what the other person meant. Looks neither smart nor powerful. Just looks like a child. Elf looked at Nanoha carefully. Then this sentence is back to you. Suddenly Tianyu's tender voice sounded from the side. All eyes returned to the side. The one who bullied my children. Is that you? Tianyu looked at Elf expressionlessly. Oh. Elf was a little surprised when she saw Tianyu. Tianyu, do you know her? Alyssa stood in front of Nanoha and secretly asked Nanoha next to her. At this time, Tianyu also walked to Nei's side. He used his petite body to stand in front of Alyssa and Nanoha. No, I don't know. Naiha quickly shook his head and said that he didn't know him. Do not know. Tianyu also pretended not to know him. Neither of them seemed to know you. Who are you? Alyssa asked sharply. Elf looked at Elf playfully with one hand on his hips. Roll! Tianyu spit out a word softly. Interesting. Elf licked the corner of his mouth. He cast his gaze on Tianyu's body. I've been very upset recently too. Tianyu slowly raised his head and looked directly at Elf in front of him. Yes, Elf said with a smile. What do you think? Tianyu asked back. There was a smell of gunpowder between the two. There is a big chance that you will start working if you don't agree. Ha 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 ha. All of a sudden Elf burst out laughing. Then he scratched his head in embarrassment and quickly apologized. I'm sorry. It seems that I recognized the wrong person, because you look like an acquaintance I know. Is that so? That's what it is. I heard that the other party was the wrong person. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. Such a cute ferret. Suddenly, Elf turned his gaze to Yuno. It's good. Touch it and see. Elf crouched down and touched Yuno's small head. Immediately afterward, he voiced to Tianyu, Nei, and Yuno in front of him. I'm just saying hello today. Yuno and Nanoha suddenly became cautious. I have a piece of advice for you. Children can just stay at home and play honestly. If they don't obey, I'm going to bite you, Elf said with a sneer. Bite me? I can't ask for it. Tianyu replied with a sneer in his heart. Elf froze for a moment. Little devil, you are really interesting. Elf smiled and said. Each other, Tianyu replied. Okay, let's take a bath again. Elf stretched and said aloud. Then he walked towards the women's bathroom. Nana, watching Elf's retreating back. Yuno's voice transmission to Nanoha. Naya said he understood. Nana, Suzuka saw that Nanoha was in something wrong. Naya nodded to indicate that he was fine. What's going on? Is that guy sick? Or is he just drunk and crazy here during the day? It's disgusting. The grumpy Alyssa was the first to lose her temper, complaining angrily. Okay. This is a place for leisure and entertainment. Of course, there are all kinds of people. Naya hurriedly rounded the ground. Then there should be a limit. Alyssa was displeased. Naya could only round the field with a wry smile. As for Tianyu glanced at Nai, he turned and left, walking towards the woods behind him. Little feather. Nei watched Tianyu leave. Want to catch up, but gave up on the idea. He could only watch Tianyu's figure disappear into the woods. Naoi, have you been with Tianyu recently? Suzuka asked. Found it while in the car. Along the way, Nai and Tianyu ignored each other. Tianyu just sat there without saying a word. Did you quarrel? Alyssa, who has a straightforward personality, asked directly. Naiha, who didn't know what to say, nodded slightly. This. Alyssa didn't know what to say for a while. Your support. Chapter 58. Nanoha's determination. This story ends like this. It's really gratifying. Night. Farron knelt on the tatami. Tell a fairy tale to the 4 children in front of you. Because Tianyu is still a child. So he lives in the same room as Naiha and the others. But Tianyu had no interest in listening to the story. He got into bed early. Little feather. Nei looked at Tianyu on the side. With the end of Farron's story, the 3 Naiha also gradually entered their dreams. Seeing it, Farron quietly left the room and closed the door. Farron, are the children already asleep? Peach, who was sitting on a chair next to her, saw Farron secretly retreat from the room. So he asked, Yes, Miss Peach, they are all asleep. Farron nodded and replied, Yes. Peaches got up and tiptoed to the door. He gently opened the door and glanced inside. Then the door was closed again. Thank you. Farron. Peach smiled and thanked him. Nothing. I'd be happy too. Farron replied quickly with a smile. Tianyu in the room opened his eyes and sat up from the bed. He glanced at Nanoha next to him. He looked at the two kittens sleeping soundly. The corners of Tianyu's mouth rose slightly. Soon he disappeared from the room. Nanoha, who sensed Tianyu leaving the mouth, also opened her eyes. Yuno-kun, are you still awake? Nanoha used voice transmission to call Yuno. Yuno ran out of nowhere and replied, That person in the daytime, isn't there anything to do with that girl? Naya pondered for a moment and asked, I guess so. Yuno nodded. Will the same thing happen again? Naya asked worriedly. Perhaps Yuno wasn't too sure either. Naoi, since then I have thought about it carefully. From now on, it will be me. Wait a moment. Yuno was interrupted by Nanoha before he could finish speaking. Yuno raised his head and looked at Nanoha. If you keep talking like this, I'll be angry. Naya was a little displeased. He stretched out his hand and touched Yuno's little head and continued. I'll do it alone from now on. I can't implicate Naya and Xiao anymore. Do you want to say that? Nanoha immediately guessed what Yuno wanted to say. Yuno bowed his head in response. In Yuno's view, Nai and Tianyu quarreled because of themselves. If not for myself, perhaps Nai and Tianyu will not quarrel anymore. If it wasn't for me, maybe you and Tianyu wouldn't quarrel. Yuno lowered his head and said guiltily, This matter has nothing to do with you. Naya shook his head. Collecting sacred stone seeds was indeed originally to help Yuno-kun. But now it is different. This is what I did by my own will. Nanoha comforted Yuno. But Yuno wanted to say something else. If you want to get rid of me and do these things alone, I'll be angry. Naya bit her lower lip and said softly. Yuno nodded vigorously. Don't be like Xiao Yu. What happened? You always want to carry it yourself. Naiba's voice became quieter when he said the last. Yes. Isn't the reason why he quarreled with Xiao Yu because of this? No matter what happened, Tianyu always chooses to carry it alone. No matter what happened, won't tell themselves. Last week was also arguing over this matter. Unconsciously, Naya's thoughts drifted back to that night. That night Nani came to Tianyu's room. That? Xiao Yu. What happened during the day? Nei asked Tianyu worriedly. Daytime? Nothing happened. Tianyu froze for a moment and replied. I'm asking you, what's the matter with that huge magic power? Naya continued to ask. That magic power. It's just a little trouble, but it's resolved. Tianyu waved his hand nonchalantly. Would there be such a big explosion if it was a little trouble? Naya asked back. This. Tianyu was also speechless. For a while, I didn't know how to answer Naya. Why don't you tell the truth? Naya's mood became a little lost. Feel sorry. After a moment of silence, Tianyu just said sorry to the two of them. These two words are undoubtedly adding fuel to the fire for Nanoha. Naoba's mood, that was a little irritable because of the daytime, things became even more irritable because a small problem to expand indefinitely created the current situation. Your support. Chapter 59. Another enemy hidden in the dark. Look up at the bright starry sky above you. The stars in the sky are flickering as if in the blink of an eye. Some of the stars are so bright and look so beautiful. Some stars are so dim that they can be easily overlooked if you don't look carefully. By dim moonlight, you can vaguely see Tianyu wearing a black yukata, sitting alone on the roof. Recalling that I missed repeatedly and repeatedly, letting the strange black mud escape. In his heart, he also had doubts about his own strength. In the last battle, because of Tianyu's negligence, the black mud escaped from his hands. I thought I was winning. As a result, the reality gave Tianyu a slap in the face. Let's go back in time to last week. After Tianyu moved his body a bit, a pair of sharp eyes stared at the black mud and said with a grin, Then I should be serious. A powerful airflow erupted from Tianyu's body. The whole ground was sunken, centered on Tianyu. The ground beneath his feet appeared dense cracks like spider webs. The airflow also condensed around Tianyu, turned into a milky, sky-high flame. He pulled the dragon scales around his neck forcefully. Pinch hard. The dragon scale in his hand turned into a black sword. The entire sword is about 1 meter long. The blade is integrated with the handle. No other trace could be seen at all. Actually, whether it's small sword and two swords, it's fine. Xinyueliu, sword drawing technique. Worth it. The damage caused can be attributed to physical damage. It doesn't do any damage to the enemy in front of you. This does not mean that Tianyu has no other way. Gather experience from previous encounters. Tianyu has a certain way to deal with this guy with physical immunity. Boosted gear, Red Dragon Emperor's cage hand. On the right hand, the god-killing tool reappeared. A huge amount of magic power poured into the weapon in his hand. Next moment, the sword in Tianyu's hand was swallowed up by the flames. This is Tianyu's inspiration from the Xinyueliu Sword Drawing Technique Magic Dress series. Xinyueliu's Sword Drawing Technique Magic Outfit. In fact, the entire Magic Gear series is activated with the help of magic. Whether it is Magic Costume by Wa Cherry Blossoms or by Wa Chasing Cherry Blossoms, magic costumes, gorgeous, flowers blowing snow in the original. Kwangziki has integrated magic into his drawing sword. Fight against those demons. However, Tianyu's move is similar to Bang Jikuei's Magic Dress series. Use the Scarlet Dragon Emperor's cage hand to wrap the weapon in his hand by the Iwa that needs the ultimate flame, thereby adding different effects to its own attack. Roar! The roaring tiger roared up to the sky and rushed towards Tianyu quickly. It's called that every time. I'm a little annoyed if you don't bother me. Holding the dagger in his hand, he slashed forward with force. A purple energy light blade, mixed with flames, attacked the rushing tiger. However, the tiger was also vigilant. I experienced this trick when I played against Tianyu. That flame is the ultimate flame that can burn everything to pieces. Flames are extremely hot and destructive. Once contaminated, the flame will burn everything that is contaminated, without any external force. This flame will only go out after burning the target to ashes. Otherwise, unless the user wishes. Otherwise, the flame will not be extinguished. Even water can be burned by this flame. Poignant chrysanthemum. Tianyu instantly moved to the top of the tiger's head. The sword in his hand slashed horizontally to the position of the tiger's head. A knife cut off the tiger's head. The two flames burned recklessly. Ow! I can't stand the pain when the fire burns. The tiger raised its head to the sky and let out a shrill scream. The flames engulfed the tiger's head. All that's left is the body. The next moment, a miracle happened. I don't know where the sword energy appeared. With the help of sword ki, the place where the flames were burning on the neck of the tiger was cut off. And the tiger also turned into black mud and kept retreating. Pooh! Tianyu also suddenly became cautious. I can't feel the presence of the opponent's ki at all. The hammer of Thor, accompanied by a squeak sound. Suddenly, countless thunderbolts fell from the sky towards Tianyu's direction. Divine dividing. The light wings of the White Dragon Emperor, Dev-eyed having. Tianyu stood there without dodging or dodging. Let the lightning strike yourself. Tianyu possessing light wings of the White Dragon Emperor can be said to be energy attack immunity. Attacks of various energy types do not deal any damage. Did you run away again? It looks like there are helpers. After the lightning dissipated, the mud was completely gone. Chapter 60. Meet fight again, just as Tianyu recalled the last battle. Suddenly, a blue light pierced through the sky in the distance. As expected, sure enough, another Holy Stone seed was activated. Tianyu looked at the beam of light in the distance and muttered to himself. The figure just moved slightly and disappeared in place in an instant. The other side, Nanoha in the room also felt the activation of the Holy Stone seed. After changing into casual clothes, he quickly ran out with the coloring mink Yuno. Nai, wouldn't it be better to not call Tianyu? Yuno asked worriedly. It's okay, let's go. Yuno. Naiha replied with a determined look. But Yuno wanted to say something else. Heart of the Rising Sun, please. Without waiting for Yuno to finish speaking, Nanoha threw up the Heart of the Rising Sun in her hand. Stand by, ready, set, UP, ready to start. After hearing Nanoha's order, Heart of the Rising Sun also started immediately. Suddenly, Naoya stopped. That is, looking at the beam of light not far away. Nanoha's expression became serious. The second one, Fit stood on the guardrail of the wooden bridge and said softly with the sacred stone seed in his hand. Elf casually sat next to Fet. Allah, 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 Allah. Elf saw Nanoha running over, said to become playful. What? When Naoi saw Elf, she was surprised. Didn't I say that children should be obedient? Elf said with a chuckle. What are you going to do with the holy stone seed? That is extremely dangerous. Yuno asked sharply. Humph. There's no need to answer you. And did I kindly warn you? If you don't obey, I'll bite you. Elf first replied from Tsundra. Then he started to giggle. Stupid dog, I said it too. Don't do anything to my children. Tianyu slowly walked out of the woods. It's you. Feet was stunned when he saw Tianyu. Interesting. Elf's white and tender hands gradually became sharper. In less than a while, ouch! Elf turned into an orange-red giant wolf. As expected, that guy is that girl's servant demon. Yuno looked at Elf, who had turned into a giant wolf, and said in a deep voice, Servant demons? Naiha was stunned when he heard the word for the first time, not sure what exactly it means. She is a magical life form created by that girl, and she mainly relies on the creator's magic to survive. At the same time, she will protect the creator with all her life and power. Tianyu walked over to Nanoha and explained, You know quite a lot. Elf looked at Tianyu and said, After all, this girl is also someone I need to protect with all my life and strength. Tianyu said with a chuckle. Little Feather. Hearing Tianyu's words, Nai bit his lower lip tightly. Go back first. I'll be right there. Elf turned her head and said to Fed, who was standing behind her, Don't mess around. If you can't do it, run away. After Fight glanced at Tianyu. Then he told Elf. Okay. Elf responded and rushed towards Nanoha. You also get out of here first. Tianyu also turned his head and said to Nei. A strong airflow erupted from top to bottom. A barrier was formed to resist Elf's attack. Do you think I'll let him go? Elf roared. You not enough to see. Tianyu said calmly. For Elf in front of him, Tianyu didn't take her to heart. Although Tianyu repeatedly let the black mud escape from his hands, it was more than enough to deal with Elf. Let me help you. Yuno quickly ran to Tianyu's side. At the same time, a light green magic circle appeared under Tianyu, Yuno, and Elf. Moving magic? Not good. Elf's pupils contracted violently. With a light green light, the three people disappeared in place. Only Fate and Nanoha were left. Little Feather. Naya hurriedly looked around. Some wonder where the three of them went. That child. Is it called Xiao Yu? Fate asked. Nanoha heard Fate's voice. His eyes also fell on Fate. That child, very gentle. Fate said with a smile. Do you know Xiao Yu? Naya also had a guess in his heart. The last time I was at the Suzuka house, Tianyu and the girl in front of her should have already met. P.S. I still need to explain to the grandfather of the Watchers. For various issues, you can look at the works related to them. In fact, there are related materials written in them. Chapter 61. Bridging the barriers, Tianyu and Elf were teleported to the depths of the woods by Yuno. Holding Yuno by the back of his neck, he kept avoiding Elf's attacks. It's annoying. Don't hide anywhere. Elf yelled angrily at Tianyu and Yuno. Why did the Magister, who can create the demons, come to this world? And about the ancient heritage, what do you know? Yuno, who was being held by Tianyu's neck, kept questioning him. It's so long-winded. Elf saw Tianyu keep dodging. Become a little annoyed. It also speeds up the attack. Suddenly, a pink light illuminates the surroundings. Tianyu, Elf, and Yuno all looked at the sky. A pink energy ball hangs in the air. A powerful wave of energy was released from it. Naoi, it's amazing, Yuno exclaimed. But it's too naive. Elf replied with a sneer. Nana? Yuno saw that the lightning battle axe in Fetty's hand was transformed into a sickle mode. He quickly reminded Naiha loudly. Nana? Tianyu threw Yuno in his hand. The speed exploded at the same time. In front of Naiha, with the index finger and thumb of his left hand, he firmly grasped the blade of the lightning battle axe in sickle mode. Enough, Tianyu said expressionlessly. Little Feather. Nei didn't expect Tianyu to come to help him. You care about her very much. Fei Te first looked at Tianyu, who was standing in front of him, and then looked at Nai Yi, who was at a loss behind Tianyu. Eyes full of envy. After all, she's my sister, the person I want to protect even with my life. Tianyu replied after releasing the Thunder Light battle axe. Yes. Fate also took back the Thunderlight Tomahawk. You really have a great family. After Fate looked at Nanoha, he landed on the ground first. Although the current Nanoha has a very powerful magic power, but he is inexperienced in combat, so he has a powerful magic power, but he does not know how to use it. Fate is stronger than Nanoha in terms of combat experience and magic power. It's normal for Nanoha to lose. Alf, let's go, Fate said without looking back. As expected of my master. Goodbye, little boy, little girl. The happy elf turned into a human figure and quickly followed Fate, etc. Nanoha and Tianyu also landed from midair. Look at the figure of Fei Te. Naya hurriedly shouted. If you don't appear in front of us again, if there is another time, I might really hurt you, said without looking back. Name? What's your name? Naya asked. Fit Testroza. After saying that, Fate flew into the air. Only Tianyu and Nanoha were left in place. Fit Testarasa. It won't be long before we meet again. After Tianyu finished speaking, he also prepared to leave alone. The two of them are still in the Cold War period, and nothing will happen next anyway. Might as well go back to the hotel early to rest. Wait a moment. Nai quickly stopped Tianyu, who was about to leave. Is there anything else? He stopped and turned his head to ask. For a while, Naruto didn't know what to say. You've been like this since you were a child. When you encounter difficulties or troubles, you always look like this. Why don't you tell me anything? Holding the heart of the rising sun tightly in his hand, Nai said to Tianyu. Years ago, there were some changes in the family because of his father, Shiro Takamachi. The young Nani took on the responsibility of taking care of Tianyu at home. It can be said, Naiba is the person who knows Tianyu best in the entire Takamachi family. Same. Tianyu is also the one who knows Nani the most in the entire Takamachi family. The two have very similar characteristics. No matter what difficulties or troubles you encounter, you will choose not to tell anyone and find a way to solve it yourself. There are some things you don't know better. Tianyu, who was silent for a moment, spoke up. I know that everyone has their own secrets, and that day was really. Naiha, who was clutching the corner of her skirt tightly, hasn't finished speaking yet. It was tightly held by Tianyu. Don't say it. Naiba is a good boy who can think from someone else's point of view. Unlike me, I am a person who can only think from his own point of view. Looking at Nei's expression, Tianyu also raised the corner of his mouth and smiled. No, Xiao Yu very gentle. Naya quickly waved his hand and said, I don't think I'm gentle. Tianyu replied with a wry smile. Whenever I encounter difficulties, you always appear by my side in time. Nanoha replied, That's not called gentleness. Let's go. Go back. After Tianyu finished speaking, he walked towards the hotel. Looking at Tianyu's appearance, Nei also nodded vigorously. Chapter 62. Familiar script, encounter black mud again. I am back. Tianyu was sitting on the ground in the living room doing push-ups. Suddenly, Nei's voice was heard. Welcome, Tianyu, who left the living room, saw Nanoha's listless appearance. You know what must have happened? What's wrong with you? Tianyu subconsciously rubbed his temples and asked. I'm fine. Naya looked a little disappointed. I guess you and Alyssa and Suzuka quarreled. Seeing Nani's listless Yangzi, Tianyu, who had lived together for 5 years, guessed it at once. Someone must have quarreled with Nanoha. Yeah. How do you know? Hear Tianyu say it right away. Nei raised his head and asked in surprise. Guess. So what happened? Some helpless Tianyu could only sigh. Nanoha also started talking about what happened at school today, because Nanoha has been in a daze recently. An absent-minded look. So Alyssa got a little angry. I feel that Nanoha is hiding something from herself and Suzuka. It is obvious that there are some troubles and difficulties. But no matter how many times Alyssa and Suzuka asked, Naiba was still reluctant to tell them. He clearly wrote the two characters of his heart on his face. But he had to lie and say he was fine. Really? You really quarreled? Tianyu said helplessly. Isn't this plot the reason why Nanoha and Tianyu quarreled a while ago? Tianyu was reluctant to tell Nanoha about himself. As a result, Naoya got angry. Only something has changed this time. Instead, Nanoha and Alyssa quarreled. It's also because Nanoha has something to hide from Alyssa. No, it's because I'm always in a daze. That's why I make Alyssa angry. Naiba said with a smile. Do you feel a sense of déjà vu? Tianyu asked. Yeah. Naya didn't know what Tianyu was talking about. A while ago, didn't we quarrel because of this? Tianyu turned around and walked toward the living room. Yeah. Naya recalled. It was because of this that he quarreled with Tianyu. Okay, you don't have a cram school today, so you can look for the sacred stone seed before dinner. As for Alyssa and Suzuka, I'll take care of it. Tianyu walked to the open kitchen of the house. I took out 2 thick fish and walked over. The other side, the black mud that continuously escaped from Tianyu's hands hid in the woods. Already almost. Heimu raised his head and looked at the setting sun and said softly to himself. Then the body began to split continuously. The body was split into 3 different groups of black mud. Blood-red eyes, full of murderous intent. The approximate location of the next holy stone seed has been determined. Heimu raised his head and said intermittently, "Speed up. The plan for the final weapon cannot be delayed." An ethereal female voice sounded from the sky. I know. Black Mud nodded and replied. The space node with that world has become more and more unstable. You only have this last chance now. If you fail again this time, when it comes to here, the voice stopped. I know, no. I don't. We'll fail. The Black Mud answered intermittently. His eyes were full of determination. This is the last time. After saying that, the female voice disappeared completely. The last time, the Black Mud and the 3 clones began to wriggle continuously, searching wildly in the streets. Tianyu, who was accompanying Nanoha in search of the sacred stone seed on the street, once again had that strange malice in his heart. It's the same feeling as when I encountered Black Mud a few times before. Quickly looked around. I want to see where the Black Mud is. Is it my delusion? Tianyu looked around and saw nothing strange. He frowned and muttered to himself a little strangely. Xiao Yu, what's wrong? Nanoha felt Tianyu stop. He turned his head and asked strangely. It always feels like someone is nearby. Tianyu didn't know what to say either. That feeling is just too wonderful. It always felt as if there was an inexplicable malice lurking around. Anyone? Is it Fei Te? Naiba's first thought was whether Fight was nearby. If Fei Te was around, does that mean there is a holy stone seed nearby? Meet again. Suddenly, a huge figure in the air smashed down. It is the Black Mud that has fought many times. It's you? Tianyu also became cautious. Yeah. Heimu looked at Tianyu and Nanoha and laughed strangely. Chapter 63. The Conspiracy of Black Mud? Are you two ready? Time to start when you're ready. Next to the swimming pool of the elementary school of Hotonara Academy in Fuyuki City. Physical education teacher holds stopwatch in hand. I asked the 2 girls in school swimsuits in front of me. One of them is a girl with long silver hair and red eyes. The other is a girl with long black hair and chestnut eyes. Ready? The 2 girls answered in unison. Mio, the 2 of us are here to compete. Suddenly the girl with long silver hair, while wearing a swimming cap, he said to the girl next to him. Yeah. Competition? The girl called Miyu asked strangely. The silver-haired girl nodded quickly. Okay. Miyu also readily agreed to the silver-haired girl's request for a match. Then, the loser will be treated to ice cream. The silver-haired girl hears Miyu agreeing to the competition. The corners of his mouth continued to rise, showing a look of success. In terms of ice cream, I still have 2 kilograms in my family's reserves, Miyu said confidently. That doesn't taste like victory. You have to buy it with pocket money, said the silver-haired girl. Yeah, is that so? I see then Ilya. I will definitely win. Miyu vowed to say to the girl, called Ilya next to her. The 2 came to the pool, decided to use swimming to compete. Ready, go. Accompanied by the physical education teacher announcing the start. The 2 girls jumped into the pool confidently. Snapped. The imagined feeling of jumping into the pool did not appear. Instead, he threw himself on the concrete floor. Okay. The 2 girls screamed at the same time. Miyu kept rubbing her face. Tears appeared in the beautiful eyes of the 2 girls. My face hurts. What's wrong? What happened? Ilya asked suspiciously after rubbing her tears. Do not know. Miyu also reached out and wiped away her tears. Why is the water gone? Elijah turned her head. Discover you are not in the pool now. but came to a strange space. What's going on? Miyu and Ilya looked around in astonishment. Mingming was still at school last second, but the next second came to this strange place. There are ruins all around. The whole world looks like it is made up of pieces of floating islands. On top of these floating islands, with an upside-down tree, upside-down waterfall, upside-down building, and the upside-down clock tower in the center. On the other side, Tianyu and Nei also looked at the black mud in front of them vigilantly. Heart of the Rising Sun. Naiha also quickly activated the Heart of the Rising Sun in his hand. Stand by, ready, set, UP, ready, start. The Heart of the Rising Sun also begins to activate. The Seed of the Holy Stone. Yuno squinted at the black mud in front of him. No, Tianyu replied in a deep voice. The black mud that appeared this time was exactly the same as the one that Nanoha sealed at the beginning. So Yuno mistook the black mud for the sacred stone seed. Meet again. Heimu set his sights on Tianyu. I don't want to meet you, coward, at all. Tianyu replied with a sneer. Jeju, run? Can't fall anymore. Heimu looked at Tianyu and let out a weird laugh. Are you talking about yourself? Tianyu completely ignored this mess. And every time he fought, the black mud in front of him escaped by himself. Just go all out this time. So Tianyu will win without a doubt at full strength. He let go of the mud in front of him over and over again. Even Tianyu has become a little embarrassed and angry. I thought I was the strongest, but there are always people who are stronger than you. It is simply unbearable for the uncle, unbearable for the aunt. This time, you protect that girl. It's useless. Black mud turned his gaze to Nanoha, who was beside him. You dare to touch him? Try. Tianyu's whole body's magic power exploded instantly. A powerful airflow swept all around. The ground also sank, and at the same time, dense cracks appeared. The dragon's inverse scales will kill you if you touch it. For Tianyu only. Nanoha is her own inverse scale. If this guy dares to hit Nanoha's attention, then, Xiao Yu, protect me? Nei's gaze turned to Tianyu next to him. It turns out that what Xiao Yu has been hiding all along is this guy's business. And a seed of holy stone? At this time, Fed also rushed over with Elf. In front of them, there is a pool of the same black mud. Fed! Nei was shocked to see Fate. Is it you? Elf's eyes sharpened as she watched Tianyu and Nanoha. Then, the game begins. The two groups of black mud laughed grimly. In an instant, they merged into one group. A powerful magic power enveloped the four of them. What happened? Nai was a little flustered. It's transfer magic. Yuno recognized it immediately. Oops. Elf hurriedly rushed to the side of Fit. Nana! Tianyu also rushed towards Nanoha. The crowd just disappeared into the light. Chapter 64. Two strange women. Tianyu regained his senses and realized that he had come to a dilapidated world. The entire space is filled with maliciousness similar to black mud. The dilapidated scene around is like the end of the world. Is this the reverse world of Giratina? Tianyu looked at the surrounding scenery. It feels a bit like a reversal of the world of Giratina and Pokemon. Nai, Fight, and others seem to be fine. Close your eyes and start to sense what's going on around you. Can clearly perceive the breath of Nanoha, Fit, and others. It seems that there are still two very weak breaths. Suddenly Tianyu discovered an extremely strange thing. That is, except for the breath of Naiba and others. There are actually two breaths that are much weaker than Naiba and others. These two strange breaths are a bit strange. Tianyu frowned. Compared with Nanoha and others, it is not at the same level at all. Huh? What is this? Suddenly, countless black smoke appeared in front of Tianyu. The rich black smoke obscured Tianyu's realization. Is something coming out? Tianyu grabbed the dragon scale on his neck. He cautiously looked at the black mist in front of him. The dragon scale in his hand also turned into a black sword. Try first. Tianyu gently waved the sword in his hand. A sword energy pierced through the space. Wow! From the black smoke came a female roar like a beast, followed by a woman with purple knee-length hair. About 1.7 meters tall, there is a snake-shaped logo on the forehead. The eyes are covered with a dark red eye patch. In the center of the crimson eye patch, it has an orb that is also dark red. wearing these black pants and black over-the-knee boots. With that tall, plump figure, it exudes a unique beauty all over the body. FK. He looked at the woman standing in front of him. Tianyu couldn't help but curse secretly. Roar! The woman threw the short sword weapon with the long chain in her hand at Tianyu. Knowing short sword? Tianyu waved the dagger in his hand and knocked aside the short sword that the woman was attacking. At the same time, he waved the sword in his hand again. Xinyu Eliu's sword-drawing technique, breaking rocks, and chrysanthemum characters. Step on your feet slightly. The whole person moved to the back of the woman in an instant, and the wooden knife in his hand slashed horizontally at the woman. The woman's response was also swift. The figure swayed forward, barely dodged Tianyu's attack. However, his clothes were still torn by the sword energy. As expected of having A-rank agility, he was able to evade my attack. Tianyu couldn't help but admire. Although Tianyu's attack was just a joke. True wheel speed. Tianyu's speed was completely out of the way of the woman in front of him. Wow! The woman tilted her head and looked at Tianyu. This world is really interesting. Tianyu tilted his head and said, Yep, countless purple energy attacks suddenly appeared in the sky. Is there another one? He gently waved the black sword in his hand. A sword energy rushed towards the countless purple energies that were attacking, easily counteracted the attack. It was a woman in an indigo hooded cloak and purple robe. Although his face is covered by a hood, it looks like a legendary wizard-like existence. But you can see that she is a very beautiful woman. Long blue hair can be seen in the hoods on both sides. The lips are smeared with purple lipstick. Purple energy balls also appeared constantly in the sky, completely enveloped the surrounding sky. Countless infrared rays fell on Tianyu's body. TSK, TSK. It looks like I've crossed over again. Tianyu clicked his tongue. All of a sudden, countless energies in the sky emitted purple beams. The overwhelming beam of light hit Tianyu like rain. Some beams landed on the ground. Countless dust covers Tianyu's figure, dividing. The light wings of the White Dragon Emperor. A low male voice came from the dust. All the upcoming attacks were taken down. A+ grade magic. Tianyu waved his hand to disperse the surrounding dust. Looking at the figure in the sky, he said softly. Even Tianyu did not expect that he actually came to this world. The woman in the air started muttering something. The purple smoke around Tianyu formed a closed vortex. The woman with purple hair. When you see the whirlpool, you jump back quickly. Avoid the range of smoke. A purple magic circle also appeared above his head. A red magic circle appeared around it. I can really play. Watch the attack overhead. Tianyu couldn't help but complained in his heart. Chapter 65, Sister R and Mother C. It seems that the power of this move is not bad. It has completely surpassed the energy attack of A-level. The barrier of ordinary A-level magic power should be easily broken. This level of attack was nothing to Tianyu at all. Even if you get hit, it doesn't do much damage. What's more, the light wings of the White Dragon Emperor has been unfolded. Dev-eyed having, the incoming energy was instantly halved by Tianyu and devoured. How can it be? The surrounding vortex gradually dissipated. The woman in the sky looked at Tianyu intact. His expression became astonished. It's interesting. Tianyu touched his chin and said with a smile. The damage of this attack has already surpassed some A-rank mages. But that guy was able to open the passage of this world. Malicious black mud. Could it be? Tianyu suddenly had an idea in his mind. Think back to the time when the black mud turned into the weapon held by humans. Left teeth bite. Right teeth bite. Tianyu immediately recalled. Although I knew before that the black mud had a lot of background, but I didn't expect it to be this. Just when Tianyu was distracted and thinking, the two women attacked Tianyu from two different directions at the same time. One is to use energy attacks from the air. The other attacked from behind with the dagger in his hand. Interesting. So interesting. An extremely powerful airflow erupted from Tianyu. Surrounded by Tianyu, formed a milky white flame shield. Even Tianyu couldn't help but get excited. I thought it was just the world of magic girl Nanoha. That black mud is nothing but an aggregate of magic power. I didn't expect it. Even these are involved. Sister R, Mom C. That's not right. It's more correct to call you Medusa and Medea, Tianyu said with a smile. The two women heard that Tianyu recognized their identities and others. Cannot help but a little surprised. Although I don't know what Tianyu means by sister R and mom C. But the names of Medusa and Medea. It was the names of the two women. Both are characters from the Fate series. The one in the sky wears an indigo hooded cloak and a purple robe. A woman covering her face with a hood. It was the servant who used Castor as the rank in the 5th Holy Grail War. The real body is Medea, the betrayal which in Greek mythology, possessing a powerful strength that modern magicians in the Fate series cannot imagine. It is even possible to summon a servant as a master, as a servant, and the noble phantasm they possess is also very powerful. Noble phantasms are all magics that can last for time. The curse-removing dagger that returns to the state before it was executed, all talismans must break the precepts in some senses. It can be said that it is a noble phantasm that embodies Medea's life. Ugly words. This woman is completely cold, cruel, and unscrupulous. Even a bad girl who is good at all kinds of tricks. But what caused all this was what she formed in order to resist the fate she carried. Because of being betrayed continuously in the past, I also fell into the position of betraying others. A very tragic woman. But deep down, she is like a girl in love. You will give everything to the person you love. However, but all the people who have been hooked so far have tasted the sweetness and run away. Caused her mind to receive the bed. Always keep a certain distance from people. How did you recognize me? After a moment of silence, Medea asked Tianyu in front of her. I also know that you are Medea, the witch of betrayal in Greek mythology, and possess the noble phantasm. The 10,000 talismans will break the precept. It can be said that you are the embodiment of the goddess of betrayal. Tianyu broke it out in one sentence. But Tianyu touched his chin and thought for a moment. But what? Medea asked with a frown. I'm curious. What time are you in right now? The 5th Holy Grail War? Half a year after the 5th Holy Grail War? Or from a class card? Tianyu asked curiously. What do you know? Medea's pupils contracted when Tianyu mentioned the 5th Holy Grail War. His expression became astonished. He asked Tianyu sharply. But because of the hood, Tianyu couldn't see Medea's expression. So, what time are you from? Tianyu still rubbed his chin and thought. Why should I tell you? Medea replied with a sneer. It's boring. If you say it, maybe I can help you. Tianyu pouted and said disdainfully. Chapter 66. Ruby and Sapphire Miyu and Ilya carefully observed the situation around them. Made a very surprising discovery. That is, the two people seem to have come to another world, and they still appear on the roof. The clothes on her body are no longer school swimsuits. Miyu changed to purple as the main tone, with a short skirt like a black skirt around her waist, and also held a blue magic wand in her hand. There is also a yellow 6-pointed star in the middle. Ilya's outfit is a pink dress, holding a pink wand with small wings on both sides. In the middle is a yellow 5-pointed star. Looking at their clothes, people can't help but think of Magical Girl. Wow! After looking at it for 4 weeks, Ilya exclaimed, It looks so big in here. Miyu looked around and couldn't help but sigh. What on earth is this place? It feels like a mirror world. Ilya asked with a frown. No, there is no lattice pattern like the real number world, and the structures are in a mess, and there is no pattern at all. Miyu looked around and said in a deep voice, So, this is not a mirror world? Ilya asked in surprise. This is a completely different space from the mirror world, and the concept is also very vague. Miyu explained to Ilya. Is that so? Ilya blinked a few times quickly. For a while I didn't know what to say, although I'm already used to this kind of messy situation. But this time, Ruby, are you a little too out of touch? Ilya asked the wand in her hand with some shame. Oh, Miss Ilya, are you treating me as a criminal? The wand named Ruby in Ilya's hand replied. If not, Ilya spread her hands and said helplessly, Yo-yo, do you think I am such a person? Ruby immediately asked back, Isn't that so? That's what you are, Ilya answered with certainty. But it's a pity. What happened this time has nothing to do with me. Ruby replied in a somewhat regretful tone. Eh. Ilya was even more surprised. Is it really not made of ruby? Isn't it really you? Ilya asked cautiously. I'm just implicated. A very pitiful lost child, Ruby said, and let out a sobbing sound. But it's obviously fake. Hey, then what should we do next? What should we do next? The flustered Ilya hurriedly asked about the ruby in her hand. Go find the culprit. The wand in Miyu's hand replied. Sapphire, what prisoner are you looking for? Miyu heard the magic wand say to find the culprit. There was also some doubts. I think this space should be man-made. The wand called Sapphire replied. Manufactured? Ilya and Miyu.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.